Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first thing I always like to start with, okay, first thing I always like to start with is just how we take notes, because I feel like this is really helpful for you guys to stay organized. And so that's what we'll dive into. So I would say there's a couple different ways that you can take notes. First, what I would say is have your presentation notes ready. Okay, your presentation notes. All right, your presentation notes are basically things that you're going to say in your demonstration that I don't want you to have to scramble for later on. Okay, because it'd be terrible that Nana takes 50 pages of notes and then has to go through 50 pages of notes just to find the one sentence that she wants to say in her demonstration. All right, so that's what we have your presentation notes. We'll be really clear when we say, hey, put this into your presentation notes. All right, the second thing I would say you want to have is a page for questions. All right, the reason I think this is important is because do you guys remember when you were in your interview and you probably came in with a lot of questions, but by the end of the interview, you didn't really have that many questions? Yeah, most of you are like, yeah, of course, okay? See, now the difference is instead of waiting 35, 40 minutes, now you have to wait 3 days. So for us to get through all the information. And so it doesn't mean that we don't like questions. It's actually the complete opposite. I love questions. Did anybody ever have a teacher in class where once you asked them a question, it almost completely derailed the class? Yes, some of you had that. Awesome. Some of you did not like that teacher. I'm that teacher. So this is why I tell you guys, hang back on the questions. Not once again, not because I don't want to answer them. It's because we will be here forever. Does anybody want to be here longer than we need to be? I didn't think so. Exactly. So just write your questions down. And the reason this is another big one while writing your questions down is important is because, well, Damien, at the end of training, I'm going to ask you guys, hey, does anybody have any questions? You can hang back if you have questions because now it's on your own time. But the worst thing that happens is Damien sits here and he goes, oh yeah, I do have a question. I forgot. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't help you now. All right. So I want to make sure that he remembers these things. I want to make sure that when they get answered. So have a little section for questions, write them down, and we'll be able to cover everything at the end when it's on your guys' own time. I just don't want to hang anybody back if they don't have any questions. Make sense? Fair? Perfect. The last one that it says there is general notes. Okay, the last thing there is general notes. General notes basically is just everything else. Okay, it's anything that you listened to. Abby was like, that was good, and just took notes on it. I will recommend taking notes on everything because you never know when you're gonna need it. Do you guys remember when you were in school and your teacher would go, hey, this is gonna be on the test, and you would look at them and be like, I can remember that. Okay, and you wouldn't write it down, and then the test would come and you'd be like, should have wrote that down. Okay, this is the same thing. So I will recommend writing down as much as you can. Now, once again, I'm not your mom. Do whatever you want, but that will be my recommendation. Those are your general notes. Like I said, we'll be very clear when we say presentation versus general notes. Make sense? Good? Clear? Perfect. I like these head nods. Okay, very enthusiastic. I'm appreciating them. So let's get into Zoom etiquette. I always like to go over Zoom etiquette, and the reason for this is because even if you guys don't work here forever, you're probably going to try to move into some other remote position, and I think it's important to still have these skills when it comes to those other jobs. I found this post on LinkedIn and I've just kept it ever since. Okay. So Zoom etiquette. Number one, okay, is cameras on during teaching. Okay. Cameras on during teaching or when someone's speaking. I just think this is respectful. It just makes sense. It's logical as well because we all know what cameras off means. Okay. Means you're probably not there, you're not present. Anybody that's done anything virtual, you know what cameras off means. To me, it's the same thing, not calling you out, but it's the same thing if Jordan showed up to my office in person with a bag over his head, and I'd be like, what's going on, and why are you like this? It's the same thing when somebody has their camera off for an extended period of time. I'm like, what's going on, and why are you like this, okay? If you have your camera off for too long, we're just gonna have to assume that you're not here, you're not paying attention, and we'll have to remove you from training. I don't want to remove anybody from training, okay? So if you are having any tech issues, definitely let us know that, but besides that, you should have your cameras on. Number two, stay muted unless prompted, okay? You can imagine if all of us were unmuted, how absolutely chaotic that would be, okay? Just between Tommy and I, that's 4 dogs already that you're probably going to hear throughout training. I don't need to hear anybody else's dogs, babies, grandparents, anything like that in the background, okay? So just stay muted unless prompted makes things a little less chaotic. Dress as if you were in person. I've always made the joke before, I really can only see your shoulders and up. So as long as that looks good, you're good. Besides that, you can wear whatever you want, right? But dress from here to here as if you were in person, okay? Be at a desk or a table, ready to learn, ready to be focused and engaged, because you shouldn't be sideways in bed. It has happened before. None of you are doing it, but it has happened before. So I do have to say it, okay? Limit side convos, social media. Once again, I know we're at home. I know there's a lot of distractions and things going on, but if we could just lock in for the 4 hours of training each day, I promise it'll pay you guys off tenfold, okay? Because what you put into training is how you're going to actually do the job. And so I want to make sure that you guys are locked in, you're engaged, ready to get going. Use a computer, laptop, not a phone. There are going to be lots of links that we send you guys throughout training, and I want to make sure that you're easily able to open everything, access everything, see it all. If you're on a phone, it will be super difficult to do these things. Okay, at a bare minimum, make sure you're on a tablet. This one's always funny to me. It is okay to eat and drink during training. Okay, it is okay to eat and drink during training. Once again, you guys are home. Okay, you know what the best part of Zoom training is that Jelana can open up a bag of Doritos, crinkle it as much as she wants, and it doesn't really matter because she's muted. Isn't that great? Okay, so that's why one, stay muted unless prompted, but you guys can eat during training. You're at home. I don't really care. Doesn't bother me. My free time isn't just staring at Abby eating a sandwich. Okay, so it is all good. Now, there is one bonus thing from this post that I did not add. It says, you can eat and drink, but just don't clean the chicken wing, okay? Some of you understood immediately what I meant, okay? All this means, though, is that if you're, like, grubbing, okay, you're, like, really in there, well, maybe you should turn the camera off. Like, maybe you should go to the side, okay? If you're just eating some noodles, a sandwich, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. But if you're, like, really in there, there's stuff on your face, and people can't see you. Maybe you should turn the camera off, okay? So that one, don't smoke and vape mid-meeting. Once again, I don't really care what you do in your free time, your pastimes. It's okay, live your life, but just don't do it on camera, okay? Once again, I have to say this because it has happened. So we will have breaks if this is something that you do have to do. That's perfectly fine. Once again, just don't do it on camera, okay? And then the last one, same thing as I said. You're at home. You can use the restroom as needed. Jordan doesn't have to raise his hand and be like, hey, can I go to the bathroom? Be like, yes, go for it, okay? Go to the bathroom if you need to. Please turn your cameras off, because I'm sure most of you will be taking your camera or your computer into the bathroom with you, and nobody needs to see that. That'd be great. So you can't turn your camera off for that. All of these show professionalism, respect, and preparation for the day. Is that clear? Good? Everybody okay with these things? Seem fair? Awesome. So let's get into our agenda for the next 3 days. Okay, so today's agenda, what we're going to be going over is expectations and a demonstration walkthrough. Okay, we're going to go over expectations and a demonstration walkthrough. I've always been a big believer that mindset is a huge part of this job. If you don't feel good, well, you can't do good. All right, and so we'll be talking probably about half of training today is just talking about mindset to make sure that you guys are in the right headspace when it comes to doing demonstrations. Because I've worked with a lot of people, and sometimes they have all the skills they need to be successful, but it's really just their mindset that's holding them back, okay? Next is Tommy's going to talk about the basic set with you guys. He's going to go over all the individual pieces, explain everything. You guys will get to see videos of stuff getting cut up. It'll be pretty fun. That'll be some popcorn reading, so you guys will get to interact in training today. We'll go over a quick pay review. I just want to make sure everybody understands how the pay is going to work, what it looks like, all that good stuff. Excuse me. This will be a very quick because it's just going to be exactly from training, from the interview. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up today with a quick brainstorming exercise. But just by a show of hands, how many of you already worked on your brainstorming list or target list of people that you want to do your first initial practice appointments with? Okay, most of you, not all of you, but it's okay, I won't call you out. Okay, but most of you have already started working on this, so we're going to help you expand on this even more so you have a good base, a good foundation to work with, and so we'll go into that. That's how we'll wrap up training, and then with some assignments. Tomorrow, we're going to do a breakout day. That's what I call it. It's breakout day. So we'll review day one. You guys will get to go into breakouts with each other, learn some stuff, practice with each other. We definitely think it helps a little bit more with you guys getting comfortable with the scripts and the programs. Tommy will be going over competitors, brand, value, pricing. So you guys will get to learn about some of the other sets that are out there, how we compare to them, and how we kick their butt because, well, duh, it's got to go. We'll talk about the Vector Impact app, okay? This app is absolutely amazing, so we'll go over that with you guys. It'll be your one-stop shop for everything, help you stay a little bit more organized. And then lastly, we'll talk about how to make a schedule, okay? Schedule for success, whether it be a Google Calendar, paper calendar, anything like that. And we'll teach you guys how to make phone calls. So you guys will get to make your first couple phone calls tomorrow. Woo! Some of you are like, whoa, right? Maybe not as excited as everybody else, but the reason we do this is so that you guys can leave training with appointments ahead of you so you can start making money as soon as possible. Okay, so we'll talk about that. And then the last day is graduation day. Woo! Okay, the last day is graduation day. So you guys will be official. We're going to go over some paperwork, make sure we can get taxes, all that stuff. You know, the really fun stuff, taxes and paperwork. We'll do that right at the beginning of the day. We'll go over some more phone calls, help you guys make a couple more phone calls so you can pretty much try to hit your goals by the end of the weekend. We're going to talk about contests. This one's my favorite. Just by a show of hands, who here likes free things? Ah, that was fast. You see the fast hands up this time? You guys are like, nah. But this time you're like, yeah, I like free things. Because if it's free, it's for me. So we'll talk about two contests that we have. The fast start contest and then the advertising bonus. And we'll tell you guys what's up for grabs. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We will try to motivate you through free stuff. Is everybody okay with us motivating you through free stuff? Very enthusiastic head nods. Okay, cool. I like it. Got it. Then we're going to go over pretty much everything else that Cutco has to offer. The drop downs, so smaller sets. We're going to talk about gifts, accessories, cookware, flatware, all the good stuff. I'll be going over introductions so you guys can continue to build up your business this way because obviously nobody has an endless supply of family and friends for them to work with. So we'll teach you guys introductions so you can continue to build over there. We'll talk about placing orders, customer deals, all of that stuff. And lastly, we'll wrap up with some communication guidelines and assignments. All right, so that's what we have going on for the next 3 days. This is why I tell you guys, not that I don't want you to ask questions, but we will be getting to it. But like I said, if you do have any questions, write them down and we can go over them at the end of the day, each day. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to get into my personal story. Okay, the reason I think it's important for the managers to tell their personal stories and how they got started with the job is because we all go through the job differently. There is not just like one clean cut way to go through this job. And so sometimes you guys can relate to stuff in my story. Sometimes you relate to stuff in Tommy's story. Okay, but I also just kind of want to humanize this a little bit. Sometimes people put the managers on pedestals and they're like, they're perfect. They've never experienced any hardships. And I'm like, that's inaccurate. So I like to just knock us off those pedestals real quick. Cool. So starting with myself, some of you have heard this, but I started the job actually in Virginia. I'm born and raised from Las Vegas, but my dad was in the Navy for 20 years, so I did start the job out there. It's actually funny because I had started or heard about the job 2 other times. I'd gotten a letter in the mail when I'd graduated high school, and then I saw it on campus when I was in college, and every single time I saw it, I was just like, I'm not really a salesperson. I'm not really outgoing. Like, I don't think this would be a good fit. And then my friend recommended me. So the third time I heard about it was my friend recommended me. And at that point I was like already looking for a job. And I was like, oh, you know what? Third time's a charm. Like, let's at least check this job out, see what it's about. Okay. So I drive up to go do the interview and all of that. And just like a lot of you did and got to experience is you got to see the product. You know, I got to see the super shears. They cut a penny. And I was like, that's really cool. I don't know if I'm a salesperson, but I could probably show that, okay? And so the product was probably the most impressive part for me, so I was actually really excited about trying to get the job, and of course, I did get the job. I know, surprise, shocker. But I remember being so pumped up, I go home to tell my mom, and I was like, oh, Mom, I got the job, and she's like, oh, that's so cool, what are you gonna be doing? And I was like, I'm selling knives, okay? And she looks at me, and she's like, what? And I was like, no, it's super cool, like, they cut a penny, they cut some rope, it was really awesome. And she's like, well, you're old enough to make your own mistakes now. So yeah, I know. So my mom was a little skeptical to say the least, but I took it as support. I was like, you know what? Cool. Sounds good. Because my mom was always one of those people that was just like, hey, you gotta try stuff to figure things out. Okay. And so she 100% let me go do what I wanted to do. And I was like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to crush this. Now my dad is a very different person. So I knew when my dad came home, there was no way I was gonna be like, Dad, I'm selling knives. So when my dad came home, I was like, yeah, so Dad, I just got this job with a $250 million marketing company. They sell a fine line of kitchen cutlery, food prep items, few outdoor items. They sell, they have scholarships, internships, blah, blah. And so I'm like, really, really hyping it up. And he just looks at me, he's like, Christina, what? And I'm like, I'm selling knives. Okay. All my dad does is he looks at me and he goes, and then he walks upstairs. So I don't want to say my dad was completely unsupportive, but he was like 96% unsupportive. Okay. So He was not pumped up, and it didn't have anything to do with the job. It 100% had to do with me. He flat out told me, he's like, Christina, you don't like talking to people. He was like, you're not even good at talking to people. He was like, I don't think this is the job for you. He's like, I think you should just find something that you'd be good at. And it was my family's utter lack in faith in me that made me want to do the job even more. I was like, well, now I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be the best at this job. And so I was so determined to make this work. So I remember going to training and I was super nervous. I remember going to training and I'm sitting there and I was like, okay, and I'm making a promise to myself. I was like, you're gonna give this 2 weeks. Right? You're gonna give this 2 weeks of solid effort. If you like it, you'll keep going. If you don't like it, okay, you got some experience, made some money, you'll move on to something else, okay? Clearly, this has turned into the longest summer job I've ever had before, so still testing the waters. But I always like to tell you guys the story of my first appointment. The reason I like to do this is just by a show of hands. Who here is a little shy, nervous, or like have no idea how you even got here? Okay, you're just doing this to get out your comfort zone. Okay, couple of you, awesome. Okay, now how many of you, some of you are like in between. You're like, oh, kinda. Okay, how many of you are super outgoing? You love talking to people. Like, you're like, this is the best fit. I'm so excited I got this job. Awesome, the other half of you. And how many of you are in between? You're like, both. Like, I'm excited, but also nervous and scared. Okay, perfect. So for those of you who are on like the shyer side of the spectrum, you'll probably relate to my story. And for those of you who are super excited and outgoing, well, you'll just get a good laugh. Congratulations. So I did my first demonstration with my next door neighbor. Super nice lady. Her grandson had a crush on my sister, so I figured it'd be easy. So I go to do this demonstration, and one of the first things that we tell you guys to do is to build rapport. And rapport is literally just like small talk, okay? A little bit about you, a little bit about me. It's very simple, okay? And one of the easiest things to do in in-person demos was just compliment the home, okay? And so I remember walking into her house, and all she had was an air mattress and a TV on a box. And I look around and I go, you don't have a lot of stuff. Are you moving? And those are the first words out of my mouth. Yes, I know. That's really top notch. And she looks at me and she goes, yes, I am moving. But maybe you don't want to tell people they don't have a lot of stuff because maybe they don't have a lot of stuff. And I was like, this is going great. So we walk into her kitchen to start doing the demonstration. And one of the other tips we'll give you guys is just follow the manual. It works. And this actually gave me a lot of confidence as a shy representative because I was like, cool, I don't have to memorize anything. I don't have to be charismatic because clearly I'm not. I just have to follow the script. And so I'm reading through it, going through everything, and she looks at me, she's like, hey, you just came from training, right? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, cool, just tell me everything that you learned. And I'm like, they told me to read from the script. And she's like, no, it's okay. She's like, just tell me everything that you learned. And I'm like, they told me to read from the manual. And so she takes my manual, not like aggressively, but she takes it, and she's like, yeah, just tell me everything that you learned. And I start crying in the middle of the demonstration. Yeah, I just start bawling immensely in the demonstration. Because she took the one thing I felt good about, so she's like, and so I just panic. And so she panics, and she's like, oh my God. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, here's your manual back. She's like, let's just start over. And I was like, okay, cool, sounds good. I'm wiping my face. And so she makes me go back outside, re-knock on the door, and restart the entire demonstration. And at that point, I really did just want to go home. I was like 2 weeks, 2 weeks is solid effort. So I made the promise to myself. So I go back in, I do the whole demonstration, and I get one recommendation, and I sell nothing. And I remember leaving thinking, that's probably the worst thing that could have happened. At least like top 5 worst things that could have happened. But I was like, but you got 6 more of these, so you gotta knock them out. So I go to my next demonstration, and my next demonstration is with my dad's friend. Now, just to like background this, as I said, my dad wasn't 100% unsupportive, 96% unsupportive. So when I asked him, I'm like, hey dad, who do you know that'd be nice enough just to listen to my demonstration so I can do some practice demos, okay? He grabs his phone and he does this. He goes, this one, call this person. And this one, call this person too. That's it. That's all I have. Right? And so I remember like looking at him like, am I the joke? are they the joke? Like, what's gonna happen here? So now I'm super nervous going to the second demonstration. And I remember just hyping myself up in the car. I was like, as long as you don't cry, you win. Like, as long as you don't cry, you win. And so I go into this demonstration, and this lady's house was ridiculously hot. Oh my gosh. So I'm sweating through the whole entire thing, and I get to the end, and I'm like, okay, do you want to go ahead and get this set today and help me with my goals? And she pauses, and she looks at me, and I said the worst thing you could ever say, ever. And she looks at me, and she goes, yeah. And I go, really? And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay, cool, sounds good. And so I remember having to call my manager 5 times because we had order forms back then and I didn't know how to do tax. And so I was like, did I do this right? And did I do this right? Did I do this right? And he was like, Christina, yes. He's like, just give her the receipt, get your introductions. He's like, and leave. And I was like, okay, cool, sounds good. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it wasn't like a crazy order. It was 318, 317, maybe was the order. So very, very average. Back then, it's still a little below average. Okay, and I think I got 5 or 10 introductions. But I remember sitting in my car with a little order, and I was like, yes, I can do this. And it was like the immense amount of confidence that I needed to do the rest of my demonstrations. Okay, it gave me that that confidence to do more. And after that, you know, I would say I did decent. Okay, I think I sold a little under $1,000, maybe like 860, something like that. Okay, a little under $1,000 for my first weekend off of like 7 appointments. Okay. And I remember being a representative, and what I liked the most about the job is that it constantly put me in a position to choose growth. And I'm not sure if that makes sense, but there were a lot of times, as you could tell, where I was really nervous to do something, okay, or scared to do something. But I knew that I would be better for it anyway. I was a psychology major, and that was the whole reason that I started the job, was just to get better at my communication skills. And so there's a lot of times where I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible, but I would do it anyway, and then I'd be better for it. And so there's a lot of times where the job would, you know, I'd be a little nervous, but I would do it so I could get better. And I really love that about the job. And that honestly is one of the biggest things that got my parents on board with the job. It wasn't the product. It wasn't how much I sold or the money that I made. Okay. It was the confidence that I gained in the position. Once I started getting promoted and I was coaching other people, my dad flat out told me, he looked at me as I was coaching somebody on the phone, and he was like, who are you? And I was like, what? And he was like, my kid hates talking on the phone. He's like, there's no way this is the same person. It's been like, what, 2 months? And I was like, I don't know. They told me I'm coaching people now. And so I'm over here like helping other reps on the phone. And it was absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's what I love the most about being a manager as well, is that I got to help and see those same types of people that I was and help them grow into a better version of themselves. Okay. Whether they're here for a short term or a long term, whether they were here as a super shy person or a super outgoing person, you know, I always got to experience that growth with them. And I always thought that was so amazing. I think of somebody like a Leo Lopez, you know, who's worked with me since he was fresh out of high school in my branch office when I barely knew what I was doing, okay? And getting to see him like grow. I watched some of these videos. His mom sent me a video of him right before his first interview. And I watched that. I'm like, man, you know, this is the same kid, you know, who I'm working with now, has run 2 offices, okay? Almost $100,000 in career sales, about to get his degree and move on to medical school. And it's like, wow, I had a part in that. Like, I helped this person get here. Like, that's so cool. And I think it's one of my favorite part about being a manager, always has been. You know, so whether you guys are here as a short term or a long term, whether you're here as a NOV Valkyrie or a Henderson Titan, I'm excited to work with you guys, excited to see you grow, and excited to see, you know, how you come out of the position. And if you didn't get anything from my story, this was the biggest takeaway that I wanted you to get, okay? Is that if you cry in your first demonstration, okay, well, I turned out all right, so congratulations. But if you don't cry in your first demonstration, well, you're already doing better than me, so congratulations again. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Tommy so he can introduce himself.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Thanks for waving back. Appreciate that. You didn't have to, but all of you did. So thanks. So my name is Thomas Keelan. I do prefer to go by Tommy. So all of you will be working with myself and Christina. So make sure when you save my number in your phone, you save it as Tommy Keelan, not Thomas Keelan, right? But I started back in 2015. I heard about the position from a letter in the mail. And I remember getting the letter in the mail and I was pumped up because I knew my dad was like, he's going to be the type of person that was like breathing down my neck. Like, hey, you got to go get a job if you're going to live in this house kind of thing. You guys might have heard this conversation before. And I was like, all right, I figured I'd preemptively beat him to the punch and start looking for work. And so when I got the letter in the mail, I was pumped up. I was excited. And I remember going in for the interview and I didn't really know what to expect. I'm sure like anybody else kind of feel the same way. We're like, I know I'm going to be talking to people, but I don't know exactly how. So yeah, that's exactly where I was. And so I went in for the interview and I learned about, what our company does, how we do it, the programs that we have available, the scholarships, the resume building opportunity, the environment that we cater. And I was blown away. I was like, this is definitely something I want to be a part of. Short term, and there's some long term potential there as well. And I remember telling my dad about the position, and my dad has worked in the hotel industry for pretty much his whole life, right? He worked at the Bellagio and the Mirage for like 30 plus years. And so when I told him I was gonna be working a remote position where I work on my own time and make my own schedule, would you guys agree he thought it was pretty weird? 100%. He's like, why don't you just get a real job, right? And by the way, who do you think my first appointment was with right out of training? It was with my dad. He was my first phone call. And when he saw the shears cut through the penny, he was like, now I get it. He's like, now I understand. He's like, this stuff is awesome. And, when I started, I did this really part-time because I was playing professional minor league football when I initially started. And so I was doing this around some practices and games that we had. But my first 3 days, I did 8 appointments. And I sold 1,100 on those 8 appointments. And so if you guys remember from the interview, that means I hit my first promotion within my first 3 days on the job. So who do you think I bragged about that to? I was like, Dad, this is my first promo. And he's like, how? I'm like, I don't know. I just showed up. I followed the manual. I nodded and smiled and people bought stuff. And he's like, it's crazy. I'm like, I know, right? Within my second week, I'd hit my second promotion. And I kind of just kept building from there. But I was really interested in leadership and management. I really wanted to move up within the company and make a positive impact on people. Is anybody else kind of that same boat? Like they'd be open to learning about the advancement opportunities that we have here? Cool. So by the way, all of you raising your hands, like it'd be a good idea to message who about that? Like message your manager, right? The person that texts you for training. Like, hey, how do I become a leader on your team? Just because the only way we know if you're interested is if you let us know, right? And so that being said, what do you think I did immediately when my manager told us that in training? I texted her right then and there. I was like, how to become a leader on your team? So those of you texting right now, look forward to that text. But I asked her how to be a leader on our team. And what she told me, what she was looking for in her organization was people that led by example, people that did something called field training. And so what field training is like, let's say, Abby, you and I started in the same office back in 2015, right? Basically what this means is I would take you on my appointment, right? You would watch what I do, how I do it, how I say things to customers, how I handle customers, so on and so forth, and watch me close on an appointment, right? Watch me go through the entire process. And then another way to field train is I could also go on your appointments and give you feedback that way as well. And so I did a lot of that when I was new, and was a big reason why I got so good within the company so quickly, and part of the reason why I advanced so quickly. Within 3 weeks of starting the position, I was promoted to key staff, which is an entry-level leadership role that we have within the company. It's kind of like, if you were to relate this just to a typical 9-5, it's like the shift leaders or the shift managers. And then within a month after that, after getting promoted to key staff, I was promoted to an assistant manager. So quick recap. Within 2 months of starting the position, mind you, I was a 17-year-old high school graduate with exactly 0 experience on my resume prior to this job. But despite that, I was promoted to an assistant manager within a $300 million marketing company within 2 months. And I don't say that to impress anybody, by the way, but to impress upon you the fact that we reward work ethic. And those of you interested in advancement, or if those of you that want to just crush it as a sales rep, it's completely under your control. And so I held that position for quite a while. But in 2017, I decided to take my leadership to the next level. And I wanted to take advantage of our branch manager opportunity. And I know Christina kind of like probably briefly mentioned it a little bit. She'll talk about it again later. But our branch manager opportunity is basically, it's like a seasonal role tailored between the months of May and August. And you essentially want to think of it as it's a startup, right? If you guys are familiar with how startups work, it's very similar. But basically you go out and you run your own organization within the umbrella of the company. You build your own team. It's kind of like franchising is another way of thinking of it. And you basically build your own business from the bottom up, which is with backing from the company, which is an amazing entrepreneurial opportunity that you get to experience and be able to put on your resume. And that was the biggest thing I wanted. Is I'm an engineering, I'm studying engineering, but for me to be able to say that I'm able to effectively communicate and manage a team and produce results in the field when everything's up to me, like it's definitely something that's going to speak volumes on your resume. And so that's something I wanted for myself. So I worked hard in 2017 to achieve that in 2018. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, I know I seem pretty confident and they're pretty charismatic up here. And so you guys probably think Jordan's like, Tom, you went out and crushed it, didn't you? Right. And I'm here to tell you, we did not. All right. 2018, we were bottom 5 in the entire region. Like, it was tough, right? I mean, if I look at the numbers, honestly, I think we were last place. I don't want to look at the numbers. I know we didn't do good. Okay. Has anybody ever experienced a challenge before? Has anybody ever gotten kicked in the dirt, knocked in the teeth, emotionally, mentally, physically? Cool. Has anybody experienced that and thought, I'm going to get back up, I'm going to do it again, I'm going to be better? It's a great mindset to have, by the way, right? And so that's what I thought. I got kicked in the dirt in 2018. I was like, I don't think this is representative of who I am as a person and what I can accomplish. And so in 2019, I decided to go out and run a second branch. And we went from being bottom 5 in the entire region to the number 3 in the entire region. We ranked nationally multiple times that summer. And ultimately, that's what led me to becoming a district manager in 2020. Just because of not only the obviously the results that we were able to produce, but because of the impact that I was able to make on the team, the people around me, and my family, my community. And so that being said, in 2020, we grew our numbers over that year by 38%. Which is a great year of growth. And then in 2021, we tripled what we did in 2020. And so we've been on a pretty solid streak of growth so far, and we're looking to continue to, we're excited to continue to build upon that and grow that. So that being said, those of you on the Valkyries, welcome to the NLV Valkyries. Look forward to friendly competing with you and taking you down. Those of you on the Henderson Titans, welcome to the Titans, right? Look forward to building with you. Biggest things like, hey, today, make sure you guys are taking tons of notes. And if you have questions, just make sure you're writing them down so we can answer them later for you. But that being said, Christina, I'm going to throw it back over to you.
All righty. Real quick, what I'm going to do is I've just posted Tommy and I's phone number, so you guys have both of them. Okay, if you have an NLV in front of your name, you're in my office. If you have an HEND in front of your name, then you're in Tommy's office. Okay, but just wanted to make sure that you guys had our phone numbers. You can save both of ours because you'll probably be talking to both of us anyway. Just wanted to give you a heads up. All right, so let's dive back into everything we need to go over. So what I always like to do is I like to introduce the rest of our division staff and even one of our region managers. And the reason I like to do this is because when Tommy and I were growing up in the business and everything was in person, it was kind of like we were on our own little island. We never really got to interact with other offices, and it's because they were always in California. So it was very rare that we got to like talk to them, see them, anything like that. But now, since everything is virtual, you guys not only get to interact with people in our division, but also in our region, with offices in Riverside, Temecula, San Diego, even in Washington, Hawaii, and Northern California, okay? So I just want to introduce you at least to the people you'll probably see the most, all right? So the first person, you will not see a whole bunch, but is important, is our region manager, Dan Cassetta. Okay, so Dan is in charge of everything from Alaska all the way down to Hawaii, okay, including Guam. And so he is our Western region manager. He also started this podcast called Changing Lives, Selling Knives. Okay. It is an awesome podcast. There's over 300 episodes now where you get to hear about testimonials of people who used to work here and who currently work here. Okay. If you ever need some recommendations for episodes, we definitely could send you those, but there are a couple that I think are definitely impactful that you guys would want to hear. Okay, so that's Changing Lives, Selling Knives. If you are a podcast person, or even if you aren't a podcast person, I would recommend checking it out. The only person that I think is really essential for you to write down, if you want to write down Dan, you can, but the only person really essential is Evan Keller. And it's because Evan is our division manager. So it means he makes all the decisions when it comes to leadership and promotions in our offices and organizations. He's been with the company since 2003, so going on 19 years now. He is a member of the Cutco Hall of Fame. He is a 2-time national champion. Okay, yes, Nana, this means that he's pretty okay at his job. Then he's reaching $50 million in career sales. So like I said, I'd say he's pretty good at his job. I used to make the joke in person that if you shook Evan's hand, you automatically would make more money. Okay, you will have the chance to do this. Possibly some of you will get invited to this event. Okay, I'm gonna let you know what it is now, just so I don't forget, and so you have it. Okay, so we have summer conferences. There are only in-person events throughout the year. Okay, we had one SC1 earlier in July, and then we have SC2, which is the Super Bowl of the summer for us, coming up next week. Okay, now not everyone will get to be invited to this, and it's just because due to our location in Vegas, we do have to carpool, and so if we don't have enough drivers, it means that we can't take everyone, obviously. Okay, and so this will be kind of a case by case who gets invited to this event, but it is honestly amazing. I love SC2, okay, and it's because it's where not only our division but several other divisions actually come together. We compete, we get to learn a whole bunch of top level things, how to sell more, okay, how to get more introductions, and also how to grow inside and outside of the business, okay? SC2 is the thing that most of our representatives are looking forward to the whole entire year, okay? So SC2 is going to be the 18th. I believe that's the Thursday, okay? So August 18th, I'm just double checking the date for you guys. Yeah, August 18th is when SC2 is going to be. So if you would be interested in getting invited to this event, I would reserve that day, open it up, okay, and then closer to the event, we'll be talking about carpooling, who will be able to drive, all of those things, okay? But then you'd get the chance to shake Evan's hand and automatically make more money. So, I don't know. I feel like it's worth it. But continuing on with Evan, he also has 3 kids. So if you hear him like hosting any meetings, you'll probably hear a child trying to break into a room. That's the only reason why I'm saying this, is because you will hear them. Okay. And so Evan is an awesome guy. But like I said, he is the one that makes all the decisions for our office, for our companies, all those, our divisions is what I'm saying. Okay. But also a couple things you want to write down underneath Evan's name, okay? 2 big things you want to write down underneath Evan's name. Number 1 is SLDM, okay? SLDM. This stands for Sales Leadership Development Meeting. This stands for Sales Leadership Development Meeting. Our sales leadership development meeting basically is where our representatives will learn how to boost their introductions, so going from averaging 5 to 10 to averaging 10 to 15, where people will learn package deals, okay, selling a different set so that they can increase their sales ratio. And he'll also talk about introductions on how to get into leadership positions, okay? Some of you have already texted me, hey Christina, how do I become a leader? Okay, this is the best step that you can take, is getting invited to the SLDM, okay? Because a good portion of this, he does talk about how to become a leader, how to become an assistant manager, a branch, or a district, what these things entail, okay, what you would need to do or what you would need to show us, okay? And I found that most of our representatives for their first event, when they go to an SLDM, it is absolutely mind-blowing for them, all right? So the way to get invited to the SLDM is to sell $1,000. Okay, once you've sold $1,000, you are now qualified to be invited to the SLDM. Okay, so you hit your first promotion, $1,000. Okay, and once you do this as well, it allows us to introduce you to Evan. Okay, Jordan, what this would look like is it's Tommy going to put you and Evan in a 3-way message. Be like, hey Evan, this is Jordan. He's one of the up and coming reps in Henderson. He's kicking butt, and I just wanted to introduce you to him. Okay, Evan will send a voice memo back, or he'll send a little text and tell you like, hey, nice to meet you. Any other hot news you have, share it with me. And the reason that he wants you to do this, I know in a lot of companies, people don't want you to brag about what you're doing. Okay, they want you to keep it to yourself. It's really frowned upon to brag. And I don't even consider it bragging here. We just say it's staying on the radar. Because it's not just you guys, in our offices. It's also not just you guys in the division, okay? There are several other offices, which means there's several other people texting Evan, be like, hey, I'm doing this, I sold this, look at me. And it's so that they can stay on the radar, because he can't be in all of our offices. So he kind of needs to know, hey, who's the top? Like, who's who's putting in the work? Who do I want to promote? And that's why we say that, like, sharing hot news is important, so that we know, like, hey, this is the person that's working, and we should keep our eyes on them. Does that make sense? Okay, and so that's why we have that little group chat, so you guys can introduce yourself. And I think he has a soft spot for us out here in Vegas, because he doesn't get to see us very often. So he really loves when we get to introduce you guys to him. All right, so that's number 1 that you want to write down, is SLDM. The second thing that you guys can write down, okay, is the Leadership Academy. Okay, this stands for, TLA stands for the Leadership Academy. You'll actually hear us call it TLA more than the Leadership Academy. Okay, TLA consists of 5 different things. Okay? It consists of us teaching you how to manage your time, money, energy, others, and self. Because we've always talked about how we don't want our people to just grow in the business. We want them to grow outside the business as well. And it's why our tagline here in Vegas is be the impact, because once again, we don't just want to be the impact for our organizations. We want to be the impact for our communities as well. And so when you guys grow more, it allows us to help in other areas as well. So, like I said, focus on time, money, energy, others, and self. Sometimes we even have themes for our TLAs. Like our last one was more money motivated, where we signed up for the Honey Money program, and she talked about budgeting, saving, investing, so to help our representatives increase their financial literacy as well. Okay? So last people I want to introduce you to are the South Coast team, okay? So since Evan is busy running the division, okay, he has somebody that runs his office. And that's the person we call the division office manager, or the DOM for short. That is Kendall Holstrom right now. So she is running the San Diego pilot office. Then we have McKenna Garrison. She is our executive assistant. She does a lot of background stuff for the division, so you probably won't see her very often. But if you do, please tell her that she's great, because we would not function without her. Then we have the other district managers, so our counterparts here. We have John Baker in East Riverside as our assistant division manager, our ADVM. He is actually learning how to become his own division manager right now. So he's pretty much Evan's right-hand guy. He just had a baby as well, so she's very cute, and I just wanted to share that. John Roach is in North San Diego. So he is actually one of our most executive district managers, because he's been with the company approaching 15 years now. Of course, you know Tommy and I. Then we have Austin Robinson in Ricci Inland Empire, and Brent Akulum in High Desert. They opened up last summer, so they are our first full year district managers. And then we have our newest district manager in Jeremy Blau. So Jeremy opened in South San Diego. He was the previous DOM before Kendall, and he opened up just this January. Currently, he is number 4 in the nation and number 1 in the region. So really excited to see how he finishes up this year. And lastly, or second to last, we have our branch managers. Some of my favorite people, okay, are the branch managers, and it's because they're taking a huge leap. All 3 of them are students right now, and so they've decided to run their own organization in between school. And I can promise that being a branch to me was one of the biggest challenges that I had experienced, and one of the biggest growth periods that I had as well. So we have Eric Arias and Leo Lopez, our 2-time branch managers, or senior branch managers in Palm Springs and Temecula, respectively. And then we have Emily Jaboro, who is a first-time branch manager in Riverside. So they're all doing really well. Eric and Emily actually have broken into the top 15 in the nation right now. So excited to see how they finish up for the summer. And then lastly, we have our CSPs. They stand for Career Sales Professionals. So it means that they decided, hey, management's not really for me. I just want to sell, okay? And they're pretty good at it. So ranging anywhere from $1 million to $5 million in career sales. So I would say they're also pretty good at what they do. I believe Adam Sobieski is the top 8 rep of all time in the nation right now. So these people will talk at different events that we have. All of them are masters in different areas of life as well. I know Matt Graves is a bodybuilder. Sharissa Sosa does a lot of yoga and wellness coaching. We have Eric Gilman, who literally rode his bike from Florida all the way to California to raise money for a charity in Haiti. So all of them are fantastic people in their own rights, doing different things, and you'll get to hear from them in different events. So Sharissa Sosa is actually our CSP here in the Las Vegas area. And so you guys will probably get to interact and meet her at SC2 if you do get invited to that. You'll get to meet all of them if you do get invited to SC2. All right. So now diving into actual business. Okay. I want you guys to write down these stats to know, okay? Before we get into that, I always just like to make sure they're as up-to-date as possible, okay? Because I want to make sure that you guys have the most up-to-date numbers. So let me go ahead, check these out. The reason I want you guys to have stats, though, is because I think it's important for you to know where you should be pacing and where you should be reaching for. This isn't for us to say, hey, Sam... Sam, okay, you're not hitting the numbers, you suck, you monster, how dare you do this? Like, that's not for me to do this, okay? It's just for him to realize, okay, cool, where should I be pacing? Do I need help? And it also lets us know, does Sam need help? Is he struggling a little bit in this area? Is he struggling here? Is he crushing it here? Should I be having him give talks to other people, okay? We want to know where you guys are pacing. So let me go ahead and put up these numbers, update them. They usually only change by like a couple dollars, like the division average went up by $2. Okay, so it's never anything crazy. The national average went up by $1, but I always want to make sure that you guys have the the most up-to-date stats. There we go. So our national average sale is $454. Our national average sale is $454. Our division average is $425. We have a closing ratio or a sales ratio of 60%. And typically our reps will get about 5 to 10 introductions or recommendations per demonstration that they do. And we found on average when people make their first 3 sales, they'll hit about their first promotion. On average. Okay, so I'd make these like a box big in your notes so that you guys can always see them, you know what you're shooting for, and I'll have a story later on why knowing your stats and knowing your numbers are important. So as I said, I was going to talk a lot about mindset because I think that's important for you guys to be in the right mindset. And one of the biggest questions sometimes I get is people ask me, hey, Christina, can I actually do well here? Okay. Like, can I actually make money here? Am I going to do well here while I succeed? Okay, which is always a funny question to me, obviously, because I've been here for 7 years, and I'm like, yes. I think you'll be fine, okay? But I know it is sometimes a, limiting belief that will pop up, so I always just like to pop any bubbles there to make sure that you guys feel confident in yourselves and your capabilities, okay? So number one, the reason you guys will succeed here is you have unlimited territory. Okay, you have unlimited territory, which means that you can do a demonstration with anybody anywhere. All right, Jordan could open up his computer and decide to do an appointment with somebody in Arkansas. Okay, I don't know your life. Damien could do an appointment with somebody in Alaska or Indiana. Okay. And you know what's so wild to me is that I started the job in Virginia, and Virginia is very different than Vegas, okay? It means that Abby could do an appointment in the time it would take me to drive to an appointment. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, I'm still in the car and Abby's closing on a homemaker, okay? Like, that is absolutely wild that you guys have that flexibility, okay? Or that Nana could just decide and open up her computer and be like, I want to work right now, okay? So being able to take advantage of the unlimited territory, but also the flexibility in that. Next is you guys have the best training. Now, I'm not saying that you guys have the best training because I'm the best trainer in the whole entire company, congratulations. Like, no, thank you for the belief, but no, I'm not saying that, okay? The reason I know you guys have the best training is because I stole it. I know, blasphemous. No, what I did is that my training was not the best, and Tommy and I's training was not the best when we first started the job. As he talked about, our first offices were a little clunky. But what we knew, our area of improvement was training. We were like, okay, this is something we could get better at, which means we just studied, okay? We studied the best managers out there. We watched people like Brian Herman, whose reps sell 5 times more than national average, or people like Drew Frank, who's won 30 plus national championships, okay? Or even when I first moved here, one of the first things I asked, I was like, hey, Evan, can I watch your training? I was like, because I don't think I'm good at this. And he was like, yeah, sure, okay? And so we just took notes. We wrote everything down, and now we're giving it to you. So the reason I know you have the best training is because I stole it from the best people. Okay? Which means you guys are learning everything you need to know to be successful at the job, just like those representatives do. Okay? And the reason all their reps kick butt is because they're learning all the things they need to know. All right? And that's what I'm going to tell you guys. This is a major secret. Okay? Major secret. All right? Is that all you guys have to do to be successful at this job? Selling Cutco is not an art form, it's a science, okay? We have a proven program of success, and all you guys have to do is just follow that program and follow the processes, and you'll be successful here. I've worked with a whole bunch of representatives before, but I've never had anybody that followed the program exactly and do bad here. All right? So that's why we share everything with you guys. We give you the best training so that you can get off to the best start. Number 3 is best time of the year to start. To save my throat so I can drink water. Join me in the chat box, okay? Why do you think now is the best time of the year to start? Okay, join me in the chat box. Why do you think now is the best time of the year to start? Holidays coming up. Holidays coming up. Any other guesses? Some of you are slow typers. It's okay, so am I. Gifts. It's a good one, yes. Okay. Weddings. Everyone's at home because of COVID, so nobody still goes out to eat. Okay, I can see that one. All right. So, biggest things. Saving up. One of the biggest things actually is that since it's the end of the summer, okay? Do you know what people are doing a lot of? Barbecuing, cookouts, get-togethers, okay? And it's because it's the end of the summer, so they're like, oh, we gotta do everything now before it ends, before kids go back to school, okay? We gotta do our get-togethers now, which means people are cooking more, which means they realize my knives suck, and they need to get more, okay? But as a lot of you already said, I had to give something else, but as a lot of you guys already said, is that we have holidays coming up, okay? Gifts are right now. Family gatherings are a big thing, obviously, okay? So this is the biggest time for you guys to get started and even ramp up for the fall, okay? The fall is one of our biggest times of the year on accident, okay? This is around people going to school and around people being busy, okay? And we still have one of our biggest times of the year in the fall. Even myself personally, I usually sell anywhere from like $6,000 to $7,000 in the fall on accident, okay? It's just my customers calling me back because they need Christmas gifts, they need wedding gifts, they need all this extra stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool, sounds good. Okay? It's just them reaching out to me. This is one of the best times of the year for you guys to get started. And Christmas shopping starts now. Okay? If you didn't know that, Christmas shopping starts now. My mom even already has been asking me, she's like, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, it's August. Like, what are you talking about? Okay? She's already planning out stuff. She's already budgeting for everything because people want to get stuff. Okay? And do you think people want to go to the malls or stores or anything like that for shopping? No. Okay? They want to stay home. They want to do it online. Boom. Easy demonstration knocks everything out. All right? So you guys are getting started in one of the best times of the year to start. Feel good in that. And the next one is so important. It gets its own slide. Look at that support system. Okay. So for our support system, we have some 3 key things. Okay. We do one-on-one coaching. Okay. We do one-on-one coaching. We call this PDI. Stands for personal daily interaction. I think how some reps think the job is going to go, okay, is that Sam is going to come into training, he's going to finish up and be like, cool, Christina, I'll just call you when I make a sale. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works, all right? And we want to work with you. We want to coach you. We want to make sure that you guys get better. Just by a show of hands, how many of you have played a sport before or like done a musical instrument or anything that required a mentor? Perfect. All of you. Exactly. Okay. Which means you guys have experienced what it is to be coached, okay? When you guys played your sport or your musical instrument, did you come in once to practice and then just like never talk to them ever again? No, okay? It was like all the time. You're practicing, you're learning, you're getting guidance. It's the same thing here. Okay. Yes, we're going to teach you everything you need to know to be successful in training. Okay. But it doesn't mean that you guys are going to be master knife sellers at the end of 3 days. Okay. You're still going to need help. We still want to help you guys. We want to give you coaching, guidance, and correct so that you can continue to get better. Shorten your learning curves. Does that make sense? Perfect. So that's why we have that PDI. We have that one-on-one coaching. Okay. Next is team events. Our representatives love team events. Okay. This is something they look forward to every single week. Okay. And it's because this is the one time a week that you guys get to come together as a team, okay? We get to celebrate you guys. We get to recognize. We get to talk about things that you need help with, okay? Nana's already excited about this. She's like, yes, recognition, celebration. I don't know about you guys, but I was 100% recognition motivated. I'm like, please tell me that I'm great, okay? And I'll do more great things, all right? And I know some of my reps are like that. I feel like recognition leads to repetition, okay? Is if we recognize, be like, hey, give it up for Jordan. Sold $3,000 last week. Just want to recognize him. Hey, Damien got 50 introductions last week. Let's give it up for them. Like, I want to recognize you guys. I want to make you feel good because if you feel good, you do good. Okay? And so that's what we do. Number 1 is recognition. Number 2 is we teach. I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. You will always be learning with this company. Hey, I hope that's okay, but you will always be learning. There has never been a point, bless you, Sam, there has never been a point where I've gotten to where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm perfect. I don't need to learn anything else. I don't need to go to any other events. I don't need to learn anything else. I'm the best manager there is. Like, no, I've never gotten to that point because there's always a time for us to get better. Even at the end of training, we're probably going to ask you guys for feedback. Hey, Nana, how'd you like training? Anything you feel like we can improve on, get better at, blah, blah, blah. I'll ask her. Okay, most of the time you guys are like, no. And I'm like, well, that's not helpful, but it's fine. Okay. But we want feedback. We want to get better. We want to continuously grow. Okay. And same thing for you guys. You will always be learning when you're working here. And that's why we have team events. We look at what the team needs as a whole. What are we struggling with? Okay. And what should we give a talk about? Sometimes in the business, sometimes outside the business. Sometimes it's just the book I was reading or the book Tommy was reading that we want to share some good things from. Okay. The amount of times I've shared stuff from like Sleep Smarter or Compound Effect or the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. Okay. All these things outside of business, but also affect business. Okay. And then the last thing we do at team events is, I told you guys already, we're going to motivate you through free stuff. So we're going to help you guys win whatever contest we have going on. Okay? Because we always have contests going on. Always. You know the amount of times people will ask me and be like, oh, Christina, how do I like buy discounted Cutco? And I always look at them and I'm like, why would you want to buy it if you could just win it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't want you guys to spend any money on buying Cutco, okay? I want Damien to leave this job, months, years later, okay, with as much Cutco as humanly possible, okay? I want him to have a set and be set for life, okay? But I want him to win it, because that's always more fun, too. Because then you can look at me like, oh, yeah, I won that. Okay? It's not as much fun when you buy it. Well, so win as much as possible. And that's why we always have these contests so you guys can win as much as possible. And then lastly, number 3, this one will be quick because Tommy already talked about it, is field training. As he said, this can either be you going on somebody's demonstration or they go on your demonstration to give you feedback. But I'm just going to tell a story on why I think, one, knowing your numbers is important, but also why field training is so impactful. This is one of the biggest things that helped me when I was a representative, okay, was field training. But one of my favorite stories to think of is Jezzy Miles. Okay, I remember Jezzy did 6 appointments her first weekend and sold on 2 of them. And so she calls me and she goes, hey, Christina, I feel like I'm doing the job right, but based on the numbers, I don't think I'm doing the job right. And I was like, okay. And she was like, could somebody just watch my demo to see if I could get better? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And so I had Leo watch her demonstration to give her some tips, okay? And Leo gave her 3 tips. This basically means you guys got to go field training. Congratulations, okay? He gave her 3 tips, all right? The first tip he gave her... was talk during the videos, okay? And this one will sound very basic. You're like, what? Well, duh, okay? But Delana, she literally would talk and then play the video and then would just sit there, okay? And I was like, well, that's more like an ASMR job now. You're just listening to food get cut up, okay? So it's not as engaging, all right? And so he was like, just talk during the videos. He was like, because then it's more engaging and they get to see stuff get cut out. And she was like, okay, cool. Number 2 tip he gave her, and he said, be enthusiastic all around. Because what was happening is she would get enthusiastic about like a couple knives. Right? She'd be excited about the spatula spreader or the cheese knife or the can opener or like random little pieces. But she wasn't excited about everything as a whole. Okay? So imagine if you do a demonstration with somebody and you're like, oh yeah, spatula spreader is amazing. Cut, spread, serve, sandwiches, bagels, lasagna. You're like super pumped up about it. And then you get to the petit carve and you're like, yeah, cut stuff. Pretty cool. See it cut that pineapple? It's nice, huh? Okay? But you can imagine why people were only buying a couple pieces. They're like, well, clearly the spatula spreader is the only good thing in this set. All right? And so he's like, you have to get excited about everything as a whole. He's like, now you don't have to be as excited as the spatula spreader. He's like, but you should be consistently excited because then they can be excited about the set as a whole. And she was like, that makes sense. Okay? Even if it's a small set, they'd be more excited about more of the pieces. Okay? And then the last tip he gave her... I'm going to tell you what he should have said, and then I will tell you exactly what he said. So the last tip he gave her is he said, call your manager for help or the best deals. Okay, call your manager for help or the best deals. That's what he should have said. What he really said was, he's like, just call Christina a whole bunch. He's like, because if you keep talking to her, she'll just keep going on and you'll learn stuff. Those are his exact, yes. Okay, I am a rambler. Even the other day, I was talking to Christian on my team, and I was like, oh yeah, you could do this, this, and this. And he was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah. You didn't know that? And he was like, no. And I was like, ah. And it's because it's like really little stuff. It's nothing like super important that you guys need to know. They're just like little tricks and things that we've learned over the years. And he's at like $15,000 now. So I was like, oh yeah, well, here, this is how you do it. Okay. Because now he can know how to do that stuff. But it's just really funny to me because, when you've done something for so long and you're just, it becomes muscle memory. So there's a lot of stuff that Tommy and I know, but that we kind of forget that we know until we tell you, okay? As I said, in training and advanced training, we're going to teach you everything you need to know to be successful at the position, okay? You guys will learn all the basics, and even in advanced training, you'll learn how to walk to run, okay? But there's still obviously things in the 7 years that we've learned that we just haven't told you yet. And it's not like it's vital for your success. It's just, we worked here for 7 years. There's a lot of stuff, okay? It's impossible for us to teach you everything we've ever learned in the 7 years working here, okay? And that's the only reason why he said, just talk to her a whole bunch. Because to this day, there's still things that I'm teaching Leo. Okay, I just made a joke with Tommy that it's like all the branches call me. Eric, Emily, and Leo, they still call me for help, okay, in other areas. And it's because, like I said, you guys will always be learning. Okay, there's always going to be the next level, the next step that you guys can get to. Cool? But that's why field training is important. So let me give you the stats so you can see the difference here. So as I told you, she did 2 for 6. Her first weekend sold like $200-300, something like that. And then after field training, she went 9 for 12 and sold almost $3,000. Okay? And you guys heard the tips. They weren't crazy things. Because most of the time in field training, you're not doing anything really bad. It's always just something small that just needs to be tweaked and just adjusted a little bit. And that's why field training is so important, because everything can always be slightly fine-tuned. All right? So if you want field training, just let your manager know. Sometimes they'll even approach you. And don't take this in a bad way. If we come and we're like, hey, Abby, do you want field training? This isn't me saying, hey, you suck. That's what I'm telling you need field training. It's just like, I notice you're struggling a little bit in this area, and I want to catch it now instead of you doing like 20 demos and we catch it then. Okay? I want to help you fix it now so you can increase that success. All right? So now that we talked about support system, the last things that I want to talk about are some expectations. I want to lay a foundation for expectations and what it's going to be like in terms of working with us. Because you guys probably have some expectations of us, right? I would hope so. Only some of you do, okay? Some of you are like, I don't know, I just showed up, okay? That's fine. So we're willing to live up to those of you that do have expectations of us, okay? And once we go over what you guys can expect from us, I'm going to talk about what we can expect from you. Sounds good? Perfect. So, number one thing that you guys can expect from us. Number one thing you guys can expect from us is 100% commitment to you and your success. And 100% commitment to you and your success. In case you guys didn't know, your success is our success. Okay? Tommy, Leo, all of us, we are not, okay, we are 100% commission based. So that means we don't make a wage or a salary or get paid hourly. So in order for us to succeed at a high level, who has to succeed first? You guys, okay? It makes sense. And I feel like this is the way it should be. Because if I go out and I train Nana and she doesn't do well here, okay? Well, I don't feel like, I know, hypothetically, okay? I don't feel like I should get paid well for her not doing well, okay? But if I train Nana really well, okay, she goes out and does awesome, well, then it makes sense that I get paid well for her doing well, okay? And so it means that we're only going to teach you things and ask you to do things that will directly impact your income. We're never going to ask you to do something that doesn't work, because if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for us. Okay? There is no such thing as busy work here. I think sometimes reps think that they're like, oh, it's just busy work. I'm like, you don't get a report card, you get a paycheck. Okay? So if we ever tell you not to do something, what do you think you should do? Probably not do it, okay? Yeah, some of you are geniuses, all right? Yeah, you probably shouldn't do it. Now, you can if you want. I don't care. I'm not your mom, okay? Because there are 2 types of people in this world. There are people who need to learn from their own mistakes, and then there are people who can learn from the mistakes of others, okay? I'm hoping you guys are the latter, because in all of my years of training hundreds of reps and also selling $100,000 personally, I've seen a lot of mistakes, but I've also made a lot of mistakes. And we're going to be here to save you from some of that stuff, okay? Because usually I am also the latter, that I can learn from other people's mistakes, but I have no idea why. In this job, I was like, I'm just gonna do it anyway. Manager would be like, you shouldn't do that. I'd be like, but what if I did? Okay. So when I tell you guys something doesn't work, it's because I've done it, and 100% it doesn't work. Okay. This is not just me saying it. It's I've done it. It doesn't work. Okay. And it's always funny to me because sometimes reps are so afraid of making mistakes. They're like, oh, Christina, I don't want to drop the ball, or I'm so sorry for dropping the ball. And I always laugh because I'm like, I've probably dropped the ball more than you're ever going to have the ball. Okay. So don't be afraid of making mistakes and ask us for help, because what we're trying to do is save you from some of this stuff and shorten your learning curve. Okay. And all you guys need to know is that you don't work for us, is that we work for you, because any great leader is a servant leader, and we're here to make sure you get what you want out of the job. We're here to support you and to challenge you to make sure that you're succeeding. Okay. Number two is availability. Okay. Availability in coaching calls. And what I want you guys to write underneath this, before I dive into anything about availability in coaching calls, I need you to write this down. Okay. And I need you to write this big, bold, underline it, highlight it, capitalize it. It should be the brightest thing in your notes. Like as soon as you open your notes, this should be the first thing that you see. All right. That's how important this is. All right. I want you guys to write down, I am not bothering them. Very important. Yes, I'm serious. Okay. I am not bothering them. Okay. Because the amount of times I've had representatives who either don't do well, don't make a sale, miss out on something just because they didn't want to call us because they felt like they were bothering us is astronomical. Okay. And it is so mind-boggling to me too, because people always say, oh, Christina, I didn't want to bother you. And I'm like, it's my job to answer the phone and help you out. Okay, putting it in a different instance. Actually, I'm going to ask this question first before I do this. Okay, how many of you feel if you had already called us 2 times to ask for help that you wouldn't want to call us the 3rd time because you'd feel like you're bothering us? Just by a show of hands, like honestly. Okay, couple of you, it's fine. Okay, some of you are like, I have a coach before, I've blown them up. I need help. Okay, that was me. So I don't really fully understand it because I was like, I need help. I called my manager 5 times in that second demo. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and you're gonna help me. But some of you are like, I'll just figure it out. Okay. And that doesn't make any sense because you don't know what you're doing. Like you do, but you don't. All right. It makes sense to just ask the person that does know what they're doing. Okay. Ask for help. You're not bothering us. It's our whole entire job. Okay. Because like I said, the way it sounds when you guys say this, oh, Christina, I didn't want to bother you. Okay, it's like if Sam went to Burger King, okay, and wanted to order food, but then just standing there. Okay, and his friend looks at him and he's like, why don't you order food? And he's like, well, the cashier just looks so busy. I don't want to bother him. Okay? That's what it sounds like. You know how absolutely ridiculous it is? It's like, it's his job to literally take your order. And you're like, I don't know. I don't want to bother him. Okay? He looks busy. All right? It's my job to answer the phone and help you guys out. Because to me, even if you have to call us 50 times in one demo, okay, that's fine. Because eventually, guess what? You won't have to call us 50 times. Okay, Damien will only have to call us 49 times. All right. So I want to help you guys grow. I want to help you guys get better, but that's all going to come from talking to us. Because like I said, we can only teach you so much in training so you can have the base level of stuff. But everybody knows the best players, the best students, the best musicians got that extra coaching. They talk to their mentors the most so that they could improve. They didn't do it by themselves. For some reason, I think people have this wild notion that independence is the highest form that they could get to. Like, I'm independent. I don't need any help. Okay. But actually, it's interdependence, is realizing that everybody has different strengths. And if we lean on other people, we can actually do more and grow more together. It's okay for you guys to call us and ask for help. It's okay to tell your customer, I don't know. Let me call my manager. Okay. And I do want to give a little comment on that as well. If Jasmine, you call and you're like, hey, give me 1 second, let me call my manager. This is not a question. You are not asking, hey, can I call my manager? Okay. You're just saying, I'm going to call my manager. That's it. Okay. It's not a question. It's a statement. Because if you ask your customer like, hey, can I call my manager? What do you think they're going to say? Oh, it's okay. You don't have to bother them. Okay. And I just beat it into you right now that you are not bothering me, okay? But they don't know that. So it's not a question, it's a statement. Hey, I'm just gonna call my manager real quick, see what they say. Okay, whether it be a question, whether it be you need a deal or anything like that, just call us. Okay, just call us, because it makes way more sense for Enrique if you're in an appointment and your customer's like, hey, I really want to get this set today, okay, but it's just a little bit too much. You know, it's way easier. Enrique can just call me and be like, hey, Christina, they said it's a little bit too much today. What can we do? And I can give him a discount or a deal or anything like that. And he closes the sale and he gets all the credit. All I did was just help, because that's what I want to do. Okay? So call us, because that's what we're here for. Utilize us. Okay? We're like an extra tool in the toolbox for you guys. Okay? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid of calling us. You're not bothering us. You're not bothering our family either. I think that's also a big one. Like, oh, tell your wife I'm sorry. Okay? My wife is the most competitive person on the face of the planet. The year that Tommy beat me, she literally called and she was like, do you want me to burn his office down? And I was like, no. It's called arson. Please don't. My wife is absolutely wild when it comes to competitiveness. And she knows all of you too. As soon as you get added to the chat, she's like, boom, I know that one. Okay? She'll be like, hey, how's Jasmine doing? Is she hitting her goals? Is she working hard? Okay? She hasn't talked to you in a little bit. Is she all right? Okay? She's actually more upset when you don't call me. Right? And Tommy's girlfriend used to be our manager. All right? So she knows how the job works. So don't worry that you're bothering us or our families, because you're not. It's our job. They understand how it works. We've been here for 7 years. Okay? Is everybody okay with calling us as much as you need? Perfect. Thanks for the thumbs ups. Yes, I like it. Okay. So now I'm done rambling about that. Now we can explain what coaching calls are. Okay? I just need to make that one clear, because it's a pet peeve, if you couldn't tell. So availability and coaching calls. Basically all this is it's a 2 to 5 minute conversation following every presentation that you do. Okay, so it's at the end of every demonstration that you do, and it's going to allow us to do 3 things. Number 1 is it's basically a debrief. Okay, Damien, what happened? What do you feel good about? What you do well with? What do you feel like you could have improved on? Number 2 is we record results. Make sure we keep you updated on your orders processing correctly. Make sure we have all our forms correctly. Okay. Sometimes we can even keep you updated in standings in your training class. Okay. Maybe Abby is super competitive and she's like, am I winning? Am I beating everybody? Am I top in the training class? I don't know. Maybe she just cares. Maybe she just wants to know how you guys are doing. Okay. And number 3 is it's going to help us teach you based on the experiences and situations you're encountering. Okay, we're going to teach you based on the situations and experiences you're encountering. These coaching calls are going to cut your learning curve down dramatically. Okay? I've been doing this for 7 years, and I can tell you that coaching calls are the most important part of a representative's success. And the only reason we stress it so much is because when we were reps, somebody did it for us. Okay, like that's how we got so good at the job, is that we called our managers, asked for help, and we continued to move up from there. And we got to a point where we could help other people out. Okay, and we just want to do the same thing for you guys. If you didn't know, our company actually only promotes from within. So in order for us to get to the level that we're at, we had to do your job really well. Okay, and it all stems from us asking our managers for help. And if I'm being honest with you guys, we don't really care about the results. Okay, and not in the sense of like, nah, I don't really care about your results. More in the sense of, I know you're gonna sell the knives. It's Cutco. Like if they're an easier product to sell, I would just teach you to do that. Okay, so we're not worried about the results, but communication is the most important part of the job. Which leads me to my last point. Hint, hint. Open and honest communication. I'm a very straightforward person, if you couldn't tell, okay? I call things as I see them. I like to lay my foundations and expectations up front so you guys know what they are, okay? And so we're going to be here to do 2 things with you guys. We're going to be here to support you and to challenge you to make sure that you're succeeding at a high level. We're going to be really open and honest with you guys, and we want that to be a 2-way street. Because trust is the foundation of any relationship. And when you trust someone, you listen to them and you respect their guidance. Now, do you guys think at some point during your first week or two or month on the job, you're going to feel a little overwhelmed or outside of your comfort zone? Big head nods from Jordan. Got it, okay? Yes, of course, all right? And that's why most of you are doing this job, because it's not the normal job. It puts you outside of your comfort zone from time to time. It helps you manage your time. Are those good things? Yes, those are great things because they're signs of growth and character development. Those are things that are going to make you a more capable and more impressive version of yourself. So when you're feeling these types of emotions, there's a couple of options, okay? Number one, you can bottle it all up. And what tends to happen when you do that? You explode. Thank you guys for the hand. It's actually funny because it was like the wave. Anyway, okay, but you explode. It's not good. I wouldn't recommend option one. Once again, you can do whatever you want. I wouldn't recommend option one. Number two, you can choose to express these emotions to friends and family, which initially feels like the right decision. But here's why I want you guys to come talk to us first. And this isn't me saying, Sam, don't talk to your mom. Don't ever talk to your mom. Like, that's not what I'm saying, okay? All I'm saying is anything that you're going through and you're feeling, guess what? We've already done it. Yeah, you guys get it. We've already done it. We've gone through it. We've experienced it. So we're going to be here to resonate with you, to empathize with you, but also to give you direction and help you work through those things. Okay? I remember every time I would tell my mom about the job, anytime I had struggled with something, oh, Mom, this person didn't show up, or they didn't get what I thought they were going to get. Every single time, my mom would go, that's sales for you. And I would go, thanks. I feel so much better. Okay. And this isn't my mom's fault. She's been a nurse for 20 years. Like, what does she know about selling knives? Now, she knows a lot, actually. It's kind of terrifying. But then she didn't know a lot, okay? And so she wasn't really able to give me advice or feedback on stuff. But when I would talk to my manager, he'd already done it. He'd been through it, okay? And so he was able to give me advice so I could get better. Okay? So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed or a little uncomfortable, first of all, those are good things. But just come talk to us. Okay? Because, like I said, we want to have a really open and honest line of communication between us. Is that cool? Perfect. I love the thumbs ups. I appreciate you guys. So now that we've talked about what you guys can expect from us, we're going to talk about what we can expect from you guys. Okay? You can label these your keys to success. Right? So, number one is positive attitude and expectations. Okay, positive attitude and expectations. If you couldn't tell, we are literally the most positive people that you'll probably ever meet in your entire life. And yes, I know that sounds like a bold statement. It is not an understatement, though. For a long time, I tried to make virtual high fives and fist bumps a thing. They're not a thing. I tried, though. I tried really hard. But they're not a thing. Okay? And I know for some people, it's a little weird when they come to work, okay? And we're like this excited. Because, yes, I am like this all the time. Okay? And they're like, it's a little weird for some people like this. Okay? I remember I actually even had somebody, when I asked for feedback, I was like, oh, anything that you feel like we could do better. And he was like, for being honest, he's like, you guys are just like too happy. He's like, it just doesn't feel real. And I was like, and I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know. Like, I didn't even know what to say. I was like, do you want me to be sadder? Like, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, I just don't know if it's for me. And I was like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's not, I guess. I don't know. It's the weirdest interaction I've had to date. I have no idea. Okay. But I do know it's a little bit different because it's not, like I said, the environment that you come into when you go to any other job where they're just like, yeah, tell me about your feelings and how you're doing and critique me and tell me I'm doing bad. And like, I don't know what's going on. This is so weird. Okay. So we want you guys to have a positive attitude and we want you to have energy, but, and on that as well, I want to make sure that it's like authentic, your form of energy. Like, I don't want, Jelena to just be like, oh yes, Christina said I have to be happy nonstop all the time, like a Chick-fil-A. Like, no, I don't need you to do that, right? I just need you to, show your positive energy whenever you want. Okay? And to me, the most important aspect of this is your expectations. Okay, because I think it just affects everything in general. I think the most important aspect of this is your expectations. Okay, because I want to share with you guys a universal fact. Everything in life happens twice. Okay, it happens up here first, and then it happens in real life. Nothing you don't fully expect to happen ever will, because your expectations create your reality. Okay, your expectations create your reality. I'm going to unmute one of you because I can. Abby, there we go. Thanks for not volunteering. Perfect. Okay, quick questions. They're very simple, I promise. If you think about the best players in the NBA, when they go to take a shot, what do they expect to happen?
And to go in?
For it to go in. Awesome. Do they ever shoot the ball expecting to miss?
No.
No. Now, do they make every single shot that they take?
No.
No. But what is their expectation?
To make them.
To make them. So every single presentation that you go into, what should you expect to happen?
To sell the product.
To sell the product. Awesome. Thank you. You did great. Okay. Now, this is a question for all of you. Is that going to happen on every single presentation that you do? Probably not. Okay. But if you go out and make a sale on every single presentation that you do, don't be surprised, because it does happen more often than you think. I remember training Gavin, and he went 24 for 24 before he had his first no sale. Okay. I believe the record in Southland right now is like 93. Okay. So it does happen. It's more often than you would think. Okay. But more important than actually making the sale is your expectations, because your expectations create your reality. If you don't expect to sell, don't even do the demonstration. And this isn't me saying, Damien, you should force everybody to buy something, okay? That's not what I'm saying. Is if you don't expect to sell, you're probably not going to do a good demonstration. Okay? Easy example is if you guys knew for sure that somebody wasn't going to get something, would you guys be excited about that demonstration? Unlikely, okay? Would you do the best demo you've ever done? Unlikely, okay? Some of you are like, maybe, okay? But it's unlikely. Now, flip the coin. If you knew for sure somebody was going to buy something, okay, would you be excited about that demo? Yeah, 100%. Would you do the best demo you've ever done? For sure, okay? Because you're like, well, if they're going to get something, it's going to be something good, okay? Now, question, do you ever know for sure if somebody's going to get something or not? No. Even if somebody flat out tells you, hey, Sam, I'm not going to get anything, okay? Do you think they're trying to convince you or themselves? Themselves. 100%. I think I've actually had more people who have told me they weren't going to get, who bought something, than people who just didn't say anything at all. And it's because I just did a good demonstration, all right? There'll be people who'll be like, oh, see, I'm not going to get anything. I'll listen to you. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I'll do a great demo, go through everything. And then I get to the end and they're just like, how much is the cheese knife? And I'm like, well, the cheese knife is my favorite knife. So it costs this much and I throw in a sheath for free, okay? I've sold a lot of cheese knives. That's my last piece, okay? We even used to call Tommy two-piece Tommy because how often he would close on 2 pieces, okay? And if he wasn't selling anything, he was selling at least 2 pieces. Okay? And it's because, like I said, they're trying usually to convince themselves and not you. So you just need to do a good demonstration. Because when you do a good demonstration, they actually enjoy it more, okay? And it surprises them. But what happens most of the time is when somebody says, hey, Jordan, I'm not going to get anything, is he's like, ugh, they're not going to get anything. And so then he's like, nah, I don't want to do a good demo, okay? And so what happens is your beliefs affect your actions, and your actions affect your results. So then he doesn't make a sale, which feeds back into that belief of when customers tell him they don't buy, okay? But if your belief was, I'm going to do a good demo no matter what, okay? Or the one I always went into every demo was like, I'm going to sell a homemaker no matter what, okay? I'd go in, I would take the actions of somebody who's going to sell a homemaker, okay? And then the result, I didn't always sell a homemaker, but I did sell something, okay? And so then it would feed back into my belief of like, okay, cool. If I do a good demo, I'll sell something, okay? And sometimes did I make no sales? Yes, but I had an 80% closing ratio. So it wasn't a very often problem. All right, I always sold at least something, and it's because I always went in, did a good demo. And to me, the biggest thing is that this is a service to your customers. They're taking time out of their day to listen to you. At least do a good demo for them, because worst case scenario, you get paid either way. Okay? Worst case scenario, you get paid either way. So you might as well do a great demo every single time. Okay? Is that fair? Makes sense? Perfect. That's the one I'll linger the longest on. Number 2 is help each other and help others. Because if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, take other people with you. The job is very simple. Follow the manual. Okay? It's like 10, 12 pages that you're going to read for your next 20, 30, 40 presentations. And you know what the best part of Zoom is? Is that Damien doesn't have to worry about making eye contact. Okay? He can just read. Isn't that great? Okay? Because some of you get so nervous about that. You're like, what if they could tell that I'm reading? Who cares? Do you know how Tommy and I used to do our demonstrations? I always like to show this because I think it's funny. Tommy and I used to do our demonstrations like this. We had a little like blue book, okay, like this basically. And we had our manual right behind it. And we would sit here and do this. Okay, so the next tool in your set is the Petite Carver. It's great for, and I would like look up every now and then and be like, it's great for pineapples, melons, meats, and all that. And I would say it exactly like this. They would see the top of my head. And we were doing this in person. I'm literally sitting across their table, and they're just looking at the top of my head. Okay? Now, you guys could read from a script, and they wouldn't even know it. All right? So don't be afraid of not making eye contact, okay? Because a lot of the times, there's a misconception in sales that you need to make eye contact to build a relationship. Join me in the chat box real quick, okay? Who are you doing your first couple demonstrations with? Parents, people we know, family, friends. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you already have a relationship built with these people. I don't know, don't know your life, but I feel like you probably already have a relationship with them, which means you don't gotta make eye contact, okay? It's fine. It's not that big of a deal, okay? The more robotic and clunky you are in your first demonstrations, the better, okay? Because literally, guys, if you can read, you can sell Cutco. That's a running long-term joke, is that you don't gotta be smart to sell Cutco, okay? If you can read, you can sell Cutco. It's not hard to sell Cutco. It's not hard to sell a product that outsells its closest competitor by $160 million, okay? And it's not hard to sell a product that's been around longer than any of us have been alive, right? So it's not hard to sell Cutco. And for those of you who are sitting here like, oh man, Christina, reading though, that's the thing, okay? It's okay. There's pictures, there's videos. You'll be fine. I promise, okay? But when I think about it, we don't even sell Cutco. Because what does Cutco do? It sells itself. You know what's so funny is my wife's like whispering all the answers in the background. She's like, sells itself. Anyway, okay? My wife is also a sales rep, by the way, so she kind of knows what she's talking about. All right, but you just gotta smile and watch stuff get cut up. Your customer goes, whoa, and you're like, I know. That's your job. Okay? That's it. And if you think about it, the question isn't, do people buy the knives? No. The question is, what do they get? Or how much? Or what fits their needs? Okay? Sam, if you do a demonstration with somebody and they tell you, yeah, we just don't really cook all that much, it's just the two of us, okay? He can hook them up with 5 knives, gets the job done. But if he does a demonstration with somebody who's like, oh, we love to cook, we have family over all the time, like we're non-stop cooking, do you think 5 knives is gonna be enough? No, okay? Finds a bigger set for them. And that's all you guys are doing. Your job isn't to force people to buy whatever you want them to buy. Your job is to figure out what their needs are and what fits those. Because sometimes it is the biggest thing that we sell. And sometimes it's a spatula spreader today. Okay? But do you think if they get a spatula spreader today, that they'll get more from you in the future? Yeah, 100%. If somebody has Cutco, they always want more Cutco. Okay? Cutco owners are freebies. All right? And it's because they already know how great the product is. Now you're just upgrading whatever they have. And that's why you call us, so we can help you upgrade the right way. Because once again, we don't want them to get something they don't need. We want to make sure we get them stuff that they do need. Okay? The reality is, everybody wants to get something. The question is just what fits their needs. And that's why you guys call us. Because sometimes also, you're going to have some customers, like Enrique, you're going to have a customer who's like, I want the big one, okay? But they're like, I can't get the big one right now. I don't have the budget for that. But I'm going to get the big one. And you're like, okay. And it makes way more sense for them to get a spatula spreader today and build up to the big one later than the promise of them getting the big one later. Because due to inflation, our prices are always going to go up eventually. So it actually makes way more sense for them to get something in now, okay? Lock them in as a Cutco owner and get deals and discounts in the future. Okay? Which most of you are like, oh, how does that even work? That's why you call us, okay? Because I can do it for you. Isn't that great? And the secret here is if Sam calls me 50 times over and over and hears the same deals and same things over and over and over again, do you think eventually he's going to learn how to do that himself? Yes, because he's heard me do it 100 times, okay? Like I said, your job is just two things. Follow the program and the process and be really, really enthusiastic and excited about how awesome the product is. Okay, you guys are all in the same shoes today. You're a little nervous, but by the end of training, you're going to know everything you need to know to be successful with the position. Number 2, be responsible. This one's easy. Just do what you say you're going to do. You guys are all adults here, and we're going to treat you as such. So at the beginning of the week, what we're going to do is we're going to get your goal. Okay, hey, Nana, how many appointments do you want to do this week? She'll be like, I want to do 10. Be like, cool, I'm going to hold you accountable to 10. She said more, but, examples. Hey, Damien, how many appointments do you want to do this week? He's like, I'm going after a bigger goal. I want to do 25. Cool, we're going to hold you accountable to 25. Okay? Hey, Sam, how many appointments do you want to do this week? You know what? We got a busy week this week. I got exams and stuff coming up. I'm only going to do 5. You'd be like, okay, cool, sounds good. I'll hold you accountable to 5. Is everybody okay with us holding you accountable to the goals you set for yourself? Perfect. Good. Simple. Okay, because do you guys think we care how many appointments you do on a week-to-week basis? Not really, okay? Now, if Juliana told Tommy, I want to do 1 this week for like a month, he'd be like, are you okay? Hey, that's like $25. Are you all right? Okay, now, is he going to tell her what to do? No, but he's also going to be like, not really making much money. Are you all right? To us, as long as you treat the job like a job, it will pay you like a job. If you treat the job like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. Okay? And even if you're just treating it like a part-time job, like 15 to 25 hours, that's fine. It will pay you like a part-time job. Okay? But sometimes people will treat the job like a hobby and they want it to pay like a job. And unfortunately, that's just not how life works. Okay? It is funny because we can get you there, but it requires work in the beginning, okay? So just treat the job like a job and follow through. It's really important. Is everybody okay with that? Perfect. Last one. Okay, last one is just make the most out of training. Okay, make the most out of training. You only get to go through training once. Pay attention, take notes. Because like I said, this is what's going to help you guys, and the way you go through training is the way you're going to do the job. Just like in any sport, the way you practice is the way you actually play the game. Okay? So, make the most out of training. Take good notes and focus on active learning. Join me in the chat box. Who can tell me what is active learning? Who can tell me what is active learning? Okay, asking questions, learning actively. Tip, when you ask for a definition, don't put the word in the definition. Okay, what is active learning? Learning while doing, okay? Participating, engagement, yeah, it's engaged, it's discussion-based, questions, feedback, response, okay? Now, as I already said about the questions thing, that one will derail us a bit, so that's why I want you guys to focus on the others, okay? Engaged, discussion-based, feedback, response, okay? That's why I have you guys put your thumbs up all the time. It's why I tell you, do hand movements or mouth things, okay? It's not for my sake, it's for yours, okay? Because there are 3 levels of learning, okay? 1 is hearing what's being said and just nodding your head. Okay, you'll probably absorb about 10% of what's being said. Okay, number 2 is hearing it and writing it down. Okay, this will get you to 30, 40%. Okay, and it's because most people don't look back at their notes. And the last one is hearing it, writing it down, and saying it out loud. This brings you to the 80-90% of actually absorbing what you're learning, okay? Because the last one helps you build muscle memory. It's why I actually like Zoom sometimes, is because you guys could repeat everything that I'm saying. It wouldn't bother me, okay? When you're doing popcorn reading, you could all read along at the same time and it wouldn't bother anybody, okay? You guys can go through and engage all throughout training and it doesn't disrupt anybody. But it helps you build muscle memory. Muscle memory is just that no matter where you are, you're able to respond. And I want that level of confidence for your guys' appointments, that you're responding to us back and forth. And by the time you get to your first appointment, okay, you could be nervous, but you're going through it and you're like, I know this. Okay? I feel comfortable. I know this stuff. And you'll feel a lot better. All right? So let's try one. Okay? 2 + 2 = 4. Okay? Tommy, it's okay. One day you'll get it. I promise. All right, so very simple. And another thing that you guys can use for interactions, I forgot to bring up. Does everybody see at the bottom, okay, there should be a little like smiley face with a plus sign on it. It says reactions, okay? If you click that, you could actually throw up a reaction, okay? So you could throw up thumbs ups. You could throw up shocked faces. See, I knew it. I called it. Somebody was going to do it. Jordan did, okay? You could throw up shocked faces and party emojis, all those good stuff. Awesome, okay? And so you can utilize these different things just so I know you're being engaged. You're here. Because I don't want to just talk at you for 4.5 hours. That's boring for me too, I promise. I want you guys to also be engaged in training. All right? So make the most out of training. Last thing that I want to go over, and then we're going to take a 15-minute break, okay, is just our goals for you guys. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is our goals for you guys. All right? So this isn't just in training. This is in general what we want you guys to gain from the job and the position. Okay? Number 1 is we want to help you guys grow professionally. Teach you to become entrepreneurs and business professionals, okay? Because professional development is really important to us. And we want to help you guys build your resume so that it's stacked and you'll be able to get whatever job, internship you want in the future. I already told you guys in the interview that I know most of you are using this as a stepping stone, and I want to make sure it's a good stepping stone. Okay? Our goal is to be able to write you a great recommendation letter, or you win the automatic President's Club letter, which is a signed letter of recommendation from the president of the company. And you'll receive this once you reach $6,000 in sales by the end of August, or $8,000 for the fall campaign. Your manager could talk more to you about like the President's Club letter and what that would look like. And we have several conferences designed to teach you guys incredible business and sales skills. And that's why we have things like SC1 and SC2, or even our COC event at the end of the year. Okay? Number 2 is we want to help you guys grow personally by becoming better communicators and more confident people. Because as I said, we want you guys to grow inside and outside of the business. We want to help you guys grow financially, hitting at least your first promotion in your first weekend, because I am not okay with anybody making less than $100 this weekend. And if you follow our program, you'll probably make that and a lot more. Okay? I want you guys to hit Dirty 30 as soon as possible. That's $10,000 in sales before the end of the campaign, and make your first $2,000 as quickly as possible, because Dirty 30 is just the start. Okay, that's where the real fun begins. And I want you guys to be able to get to those levels. For those of you in school, I want you guys to win scholarships. Okay, we have our All-American Scholarship for sales and for team building that I'll talk about on the 3rd day of training. And lastly, second to lastly, I want you guys to have fun at work, because we work hard, but we play hard too. And it's not hard to have fun when you work with great people, you hang out with Mrs. Jones on video, and you play food cutting videos for a paycheck. Okay, I know, it's hilarious. Okay? Or at our events when we get to do team night hangouts. Okay? Or at SC1 where you get to play football and like Tommy, break your finger. I'm just kidding. I don't want anybody to break their finger. Okay? He just played a little too hard. Okay? That's what happens when you work hard. But we want you guys to have fun at these events. Okay? I will forever make that joke. I'm sorry, Tommy. Sorry, Tommy. But lastly, number 5 is I want to help you guys achieve all the perks that Vector has to offer. Okay? All the perks that Vector has to offer. The free stuff, the prizes. I told you guys we're going to motivate you through your free stuff. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret on the fast start. Don't tell Tommy. Just don't make eye contact with him. Is that your fast start contest is 10 days where you have the chance to earn almost $3,000 worth of prizes on top of the income that you would make. Okay? That's it. That's all I can tell you. It's a secret, sorry. He'll tell you on the third day. Shock. Okay? I like when people put the shock emoji, but then have an absolute straight face. It's like, I am so shocked. Anyway, next is travel, okay? How many of you like to travel? Perfect, okay? So we do have lots of trips available for our top reps and managers, and we've taken trips all around the place, Costa Rica, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo. For everybody else, they get to come to Vegas, okay? Evan's even done some divisional events, and hopefully we can get him to bring those back, where it's like snowboarding trips or boating trips, being able to have those things available for you guys. Highest commission levels, okay? Because we want you guys to work less and earn more. That is the ultimate goal, and we will get you there. That's why we have a whole team of CSPs, okay? They make 50%, but many of them are earning 6 figures selling Cutco full time, and they all started the same way that you guys did, okay? But they stayed because of the income opportunity, the travel, and the flexibility, okay? I think of somebody like a Sharissa, who, like, she'll sell a whole bunch for like a month, and then she just leaves, okay? She's working in, I think it's Colombia right now. She's working with a charity, okay, trying to, like, set that all up. Okay, and so she'll just sell like $30,000 for a month and be like, okay, I'm going to take a month off now. Okay, and they have those capabilities, and that's why you'll get the chance to meet them at different events. And lastly, for those of you who did message us and was like, hey, how do I become a leader? How do I become a manager? Hey, we are always looking for future leaders and assistant managers in our company. And Vector is a great place to learn professional leadership skills at a young age, or any age, honestly, and you'll get the chance to meet our staff throughout your fast start. Okay? So that's pretty much everything. Last thing I want to show you guys, and the last comment that I have, okay? The last comment that I have, and I want you guys to write this down, is nothing replaces hard work. Okay? It's about performance, not results. I think people always assume that we're results-based, where we're performance-based, because you can't always control your results, but you can control your performance and activities. And as long as you worked hard, you should feel good regardless of the results. Because again, the key is working hard. And we judge reps solely based off of their attitude and work ethic. The reason Christian, already on my team, who I'm going to have hop on to training and give you guys some tips, the reason he did so well isn't because he sold a whole bunch, which in turn was an after effect of this. It's just because he worked hard. I remember he even asked me, he's like, hey, do you think I could sell $10,000 in my first 10 days? And I was like, I think you could sell more. I was like, but all I want you to focus on is just doing demos, okay? Call me and do demos. That's it. I want you to focus on the actions, because the actions will get you there in turn. All right? So, last thing I want to show you guys is, if you don't already have this downloaded, okay, start downloading the WhatsApp Messenger. Okay, start downloading WhatsApp Messenger. Okay, once you have it on your computer, you can have it on your phone, sorry. Once you have it on your phone, you can download it on your computer, because then it's easier to open up some of the links that we send you, and get this set up. If you already have it downloaded, get it set up. You don't have to put your office in front, but you can, okay? But put your first, last name in there, just so we know who you are, other people know who you are when we add you to our chats. All right? What we're going to do is we're going to take a 15-minute break. Okay, a 15-minute break. I believe that's going to be 12:09. Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong. Perfect. Okay. So before you, when you come back for this break, what I want you guys to do is bring me an item, okay, that brings you joy. Okay, makes you smile, whichever you want to call it. But yeah, item that brings you joy, makes you smile. But enjoy your 15-minute break. Go outside, go look at the sun, touch grass, and we'll be back at 12:09. We'll just make it 12:10 to make it easy. Okay, 12:10. Alrighty, guys. Well, I guess maybe you don't want to share your things. Sharing your items with us. I appreciate that. I always feel like it starts the day off well. And I like to see the range of things, you know, from people to food to everything else in between. So thank you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. So first thing I always like to do to get back into training, Christian said he'll be able to hop on in like 5-10 minutes. So to kick off while we wait for him, I always like to ask this question, okay? And just raise your hands. Do you know anybody, or do you personally own Cutco? Okay, a couple of you, if you do, raise your hands so I can spot you out faster. All right, Abby, Damien, Some of you are like, maybe, I don't know. Okay, awesome. Abby, we'll have you start, okay? Who do you know that owns Cutco, and how long have they had it?
My mom, and she's had it for, I want to say, at least 7 years.
7 years, awesome. And does she like it?
She loves it.
Loves it, love it. Okay, thank you for sharing. Hey, Damien, who do you know? How long have they had it? Ooh, fun fact, I can't hear you. See, we're doing a tech check as well. Isn't that nice? Might be the headphones, not positive. Grandma! Okay, thanks for putting in the chat. How long have they had it? See, champs find a way. Most people would be like, oh, I don't know. You should work on your audio, though, eventually. About 4 months. Oh, your grandma just got her Cutco. Okay, cool. I like it. Okay, we got a new customer. She's just breaking it in. Love to see it. Now, for everybody else who said you don't know anybody that owns Cutco, hey, I promise you probably do. And the reason I say this is because, well, we're probably approaching 20 million customers. Our manual is a little outdated with 16 million, but we're probably approaching about 20 million customers now. So I'm sure you know one of them. But also, big question, how many times, Jordan, have you walked into somebody's kitchen and asked them what kind of knives they have? 0, never, okay? It's not a very common thing. He's like, what kind of knives you got? Okay, Henkel's, Wushoff, Cutco, like, he doesn't care, okay? And the reason I know this is because I remember having one of our managers give a talk at SC1, and he said when he had started the job, he wanted to show his best friend's mom, because basically, like, his mom, they'd been best friends forever, known this lady since 1st grade, and he walks into her house, and he sees 2 giant sets of Cutco there, and he's like, Linda, he's like, what the heck are you doing? He's like, did somebody beat you to me? Or beat me to you? Like, what is this, okay? And she's like, Anthony, I've had these sets longer than you've been alive. I've had these things for 20 years, okay? And he just never noticed, okay? Until he started working here. And it's because you don't notice, because you don't care what kind of knives people have. And I also know this because the amount of customers I have who didn't know they owned Cutco is also really high, okay? Where I'll be doing the demonstration and they'll be sitting here and they're like, 1 second, and they leave and they come back and they're like, is this the same knife? And I'm like, yeah, it's the same knife. They're like, I love this knife. I got it for my wedding. It's my favorite knife. And I'm like, that's great. I'm glad you love it, okay? But they didn't even know they owned Cutco, all right? So, Tommy will teach you guys on the 3rd day how to talk to Cutco owners and get those freebies that I talked about, okay? Now, second question. This one's a fun game I like to play with you guys, okay? This one, if you are the closest to the answer, you will get a prize. Congratulations, all right? So, I always like to ask, how much Cutco do you think we sold last week as a company? Okay, how much Cutco do you think we sold last week as a company in a dollar amount? Join me in the chat box, okay? How much Cutco do you think we sold last week in a dollar amount as a company? Sometimes people put amount of product, and I'm like, no, just the dollar amount. So join me in the chat box. Like I said, closest answer wins. 2 million, 500,000, 350,000, 20 million, 100K, 750,000. I always like the range. That's my favorite part of this. Sometimes people are like 12,000, and other people are like 50 million. I'm like, okay. 5 million, 1.3 million. Okay, get your final answers in there. Okay, 10 million. Look, I like how you guys are now influencing each other. You're like 750,000, but just kidding, 10 million, because other people put that much. So, okay, so I'm gonna show you guys, and whatever is the last answer I see, I'm taking that as your final answer. All right, I'm taking that as your final answer. So, any final answers? Any others? Okay, like I said, closest one gets a prize. All right, let me actually share my screen better than that. Sorry. Okay, so this is Vector Connect. This is your rep portal. You'll have access to these reports as well. If you go to library right here and click document library, okay, you can go down to the national weekly sales reports, okay? So even just getting into it, number 1 person in Raleigh, Carolina, sold $34,000 is one of our CSPs. Okay, the top regular representative, okay, they're not CSPs, would be Case Kunich. Looks like in Erie, I don't know, somewhere in the Midwest. Sold $30,000. Okay, it looks like we have people all over the place. We got top branches, top offices, $90,000. Okay. First full year offices, district offices, all of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into who the who's the closest. Let me review some of these answers real quick. We got 3 million. I'm gonna have to write them down because some of you put so many different answers and I don't know which is what. Okay. Alrighty. And I like to build a suspense, so the longer it takes me to do this, the better. Because you're like, what is it? What's the answer? Who won? And you don't even know what the prize is. Okay. Perfect. All right. So we got that one last final answer in there. Okay, Damien, 4 million. Jasmine, 3.
I think Damien guessing 4 million after he's seen some of the numbers is cheating.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Okay. He was like, oops. Okay. Out of 10. Enrique, 5. I just like how they all like drastically changed their numbers after like seeing some of them. They're like, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong ballpark. Hey, Sam. 1.3. Abby. See, Abby did change. Abby was like, you know what? I'm standing my ground. That's what I think it is, and I'm sticking to it. Do I have Jordan? Nope. Okay, I think I got everybody. Oh, wait, no. Jelena also sticking ground. Like, I started this trend. I don't need to change mine. Everybody else copied my millions. Alrighty, looks like we got everybody. Okay, so final answer was 3.6 million. Okay, 3.6 million. And I know some of you put like 10 and 20 and all of that just because you saw the people's answers. You're like, I don't know if we actually sold that much, okay? But we sold $3.6 million last week as a as a company, okay? So you guys should feel pretty good with that, okay? And Damien, Tommy is right. I cannot give it to you because I feel like it's a little bit of cheating. So it looks like the closest is actually Jasmine at $3 million, okay? Congratulations. Woo! Do you know what your prize is? I like you guys giving a round of applause. You guys, so nice, so supportive. Okay, your prize is a nice, crisp virtual high five. Congratulations. Thank you for playing. Okay, but I also like to ask, nice high five, I love it. Okay, if this gave you a little bit more confidence though in the product that you guys are selling and what you're doing, just go ahead and give me a virtual thumbs up. Okay, virtual thumbs up, I love it. Actual thumbs ups, I love it as well. Okay, but I'm glad it gives you guys a little bit more confidence because, you know, you probably had somebody who told you like, hey, do people actually buy knives? Like, who actually buys knives? Okay, and now you know. A lot of people, okay? A lot of people, okay? And this is just 1 week, okay? This is literally just last week's sales report, all right? So it gives you guys a little bit more faith in the product and what you're doing, cool? So let's dive in to actually what we have to get started. Oh, and let me also send Christian the link. 1 second, sorry guys. Okay, so we're going to get into the walkthrough. Christian will probably come in and interrupt me a little bit, but figured I'd at least get you started here, okay? So this is what your Cutco appointment walkthrough will look like, or the demonstration walkthrough, okay? So first, you're going to call your customers to set up the appointment. Okay, you're going to call them to set up the appointment. You're going to talk to them over the phone. Then you're going to do the appointment with them. You're going to build rapport, share info about the company, the product, everything. You're going to find which thing works best for them. You're going to place the order, and then you're going to ask for introductions. Okay, and you're going to ask for introductions, and you're done. So if you guys would like to write this down, you can, but it's pretty straightforward, very simple. Okay, pretty straightforward, very simple. Okay. And it looks like Christian's here, so I'm gonna bring it over to him. And if you guys need this again, I'll put it back up. They're just going over Cutco appointment walkthrough, so they're just about to learn the manual.
Oh, you're talking to me, right?
Yes, I am talking to you.
Okay.
Alrighty, sir. Well, so guys, this is Christian Hardy. He's part of the NLV team here. He was our first 10K fast starter of the summer. And so I have no idea where you go to school, so you can tell me all of that. Okay, go ahead and introduce
Oh,
yourself, and then I'll.
well, I'm Christian. I just recently graduated from Rancho High School here in the Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll be going to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in the fall to study air traffic management. I'll be a pilot. As she said, I was a 10K fast starter. It was not initially my goal, but it kind of just happened, and yeah. So,
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. So let's go ahead and get into it. Do you remember when you started working, roughly?
end of June,
Okay.
like yeah, end of
Okay.
June, yeah.
Alrighty. And then how did you find out or hear about the job?
I got a letter in the mail. My brother actually got the same letter, and
Okay.
I just said, yeah, sure, why not? I need a job. So,
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. And do you know how much you've sold so far?
ooh, I think I passed 14,000
Okay.
a couple days ago.
Cool. So
Yeah,
perfect.
somewhere around
15K.
there.
Awesome. And then do you know how many appointments it took for you to hit your first promotion?
Yeah, I hit it on the first. I had my first promotion on my first demo. I sold a homemaker set my first demo, and so it was pretty cool. I sold it to my aunt, so
Cool.
she has
Awesome.
some, yeah.
And then were you nervous about anything when you were new?
Oh, absolutely. I was nervous about everything. I was not comfortable at all with this job, in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But it's grown on me a lot. I think it's good to be uncomfortable, put yourself in uncomfortable situations to make yourself a better person. So it's done that for me, and hopefully it'll keep going.
Perfect. Okay. And then what do you love about the position, the job itself?
You just get freedom, freedom to make your own schedule, freedom to, you know, call people, whoever you want. You get to go out and explore, the world, I guess, through your computer, I should say, as best you can. You get to meet all kinds of different people. I've met a lot of my extended family members that I didn't know I had. I have a really big family, so it's been cool. You get a lot of experiences, and something I do in all of my demos is I always ask all of the people, because they're all older than me, I always ask them for a piece of advice they wish they knew when they were my age. So I've collected a bunch of pieces of advice, and I get to take that with me. So.
I like it. Okay. And then what do you love about the product, Cutco itself?
I just like the quality. I got mine. Should I show mine?
Sure, if you want to.
No, this is the first knife that I got.
Mhm.
It was it's a 5-inch Sentoku. When I first got it, the first thing I did was cut a cucumber, and I was like, wow, this is really sharp. I haven't used it since because it's kind of like a trophy, but I just like the fact that you can see yourself in the reflection of the knife, and then they are very sharp. So
I like it. Awesome. And then have you ever called anybody and they told you they weren't going to buy?
yes,
Yes.
actually, I did a demo 3 days ago with a lady who flat out told me she'd seen the demo a few times. She wasn't gonna buy anything. I did it anyway. She ended up buying a knife for her husband as a gift, as a birthday gift. So yeah.
Perfect.
Sometimes, you never know what might happen. People surprise you. That's one thing I've learned. Surprise.
Cool. And then last thing, could you just give the training class a tip to help them get off to a good start?
Oh, just listen to her, and call her. Yeah, everything she says it works. So yeah.
Awesome. That applies to Tommy as well. I'm his
Yeah,
manager,
yeah.
so of course he calls me. So. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, anything else you'd like to say, or want to leave them with?
No, I don't think so. I mean, just try your best. That's all I can do.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you, sir, for hopping on. Guys, say bye to Christian or thank you, whatever you want to say. Thank you, sir. Go back to doing your stuff. That's what you
Okay.
gotta do for the day.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Perfect. Okay. So I hope you guys got a couple little things, nuggets from Christian, someone who's actually worked here, not as biased as me, I guess. So So let's get back into everything. So now that you guys know how to do the demonstration, going through the walkthrough, you got a couple tips on the way out as well. We're going to give you guys the scripts and the manuals that you're going to need for the demonstration. So let me go ahead and put those in the chat box for you guys. There we go. So this one, so there's going to be 2 in the chat box. This one right here is going to be your site. Okay, so this is the customer face or the rep facing site. And then the other one I send you is going to be the customer facing site. Yes, I'll show the notes again. those are the 2 links that you're gonna need. Let me go ahead, pull up the appointment walkthrough one more time while I get you guys started with this. Okay, so I want you guys, if you're still taking notes on this, that's perfectly fine, okay? But I want you guys to click those 2 links, get those pulled up, because I'm going to go through and show you guys the different ways that you can do your demonstration, okay? The most common way is people do them over Zoom, Google Meet, anything like this. This is going to be the most common way, and I'm going to show you guys how to get that set up, okay? The second common way is over the phone. Usually this one isn't super common, but it is a good backup. And it's just as helpful if somebody's not very tech savvy, okay? So I'll teach you guys how to do phone demos. And then the last one isn't really common at all, but it is there as well, as if you needed to do like a FaceTime or a, I don't know, Messenger on like Facebook you could do, okay? Any other like screen sharing service. Those are, like I said, not as common, but they have been done before, okay? I'll give you guys about 30 more seconds on this slide, and then I will have to continue on. If you do need to take a screenshot of anything, by the way, because I know I do talk kind of fast. In my head, this is slow. I'm sorry. But you can do Shift Command 4 or 5, depending on how old your Mac is. And if you're on a PC, I believe it is Control Print Screen or Shift Control Print Screen. I've always said, when in doubt, you can use your phone. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, stop sharing this, and I'm going to go into the demonstration with you guys. Alrighty. So when we're doing demos with customers, obviously we only want them to see one side. We don't want them to see what we're reading, even though they know we're reading, because we will tell them. We're honest, okay? I don't want them to watch me read. That's weird, all right? So we want to make sure when we're sharing our screen, we're only sharing the side the customer needs, all right? So when you're doing Zoom or Google Meet, does everybody see the big green button that says share screen down at the bottom? Okay, perfect, okay? Now, most of our reps use Google Meet. Google Meet is very similar. It's not gonna say share screen, but it is gonna be a big button that looks exactly like that. Same icon with an arrow, all of that stuff, okay? And it's gonna give you 3 options. Do you wanna share your desktop? Do you want to share just the window, or do you want to share just a tab? Okay, we usually tell them share the window that you want to share, and I'll show you right now with my screen. I'm going to be sharing my desktop all the time just for teaching purposes, but I would never do this with a customer because I don't want them to see my whole entire desktop and everything that I have going on, all right? I only want them to see this side, okay? Now, I'm going to give you guys one last tip as well, is the reason that most of our reps actually use Google Meet is because Zoom recently had an update in May, I believe, okay, where before, if you had a free account, your meeting, like if I was doing it one-on-one, so let's say I'm doing this with Jordan, okay? If we're doing a one-on-one meeting and I have Zoom, this would be for like 24 hours. I could leave this Zoom meeting up for forever, okay? It was absolutely ridiculous. But they recently updated it where it's going to cut off at 40 minutes if you have a free account, okay? So automatically, Jordan and I's meeting will just end at the 40-minute mark, okay? Yeah, I know, isn't that fun? And so we would either have to restart the meeting or I could pay for Zoom Pro. Okay, now, because I'm always an advocate of if it's free, it's for me, it's why I recommend Google Meet now, is because Google Meet is free. So if I do a one-on-one meeting with Jordan, then once again, I get that 24-hour limit, okay? If, even if for some reason a third person hops on, I still have an hour to do this meeting before it will cut off and I have to restart it. Okay, but as long as you're doing a one-on-one, you have the 24-hour limit with a free account. So, like I said, most of our reps use Google Meet. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's what I will recommend, okay? But if you'd use Zoom, that's perfectly fine as well. I apologize for my dogs. Sorry. I'm glad this will be in the recording. Anyway, so let's go ahead and continue on. As I said, when you're doing this, you're going to want to make sure to share just the customer side of the screen, okay? That way everything is here, okay? And I can read all of this, but they can only see this side. Does that make sense? Okay? For some reason, my dual monitor is really finicky right now, and so when I share just one side, it doesn't show on your guys' end, so that's why it is what it is, okay? But we would pretend like you could only see the customer side. But like I said, for teaching purposes, I'm going to go through everything. Now, what I want to get into what I want to get into is these 4 tips for your demo, okay? Because these 4 tips are going to be essential. If you remember these 4 things, I promise you'll do well here. Okay? If for some reason, Abby, you just black out in training, please don't do that. But if you just black out in training, okay, as long as you remember these 4 things, I promise you'll do well here. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to break each one down step by step. So number 1 is follow the manual. Number 1 is follow the manual. All right? The manual works, okay? I know that seems redundant, but the manual works, okay? You don't need to reconfigure anything. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, okay? Because the manual is not just for practice, it's forever. Okay? It's not for practice, it's forever. And as I said, okay, you want to use the manual because you want to give them all the right information. You don't need to worry about making eye contact because the more robotic and dorky you are in your first 2 to 3 weeks of the job, the better. Excuse me, okay? So let me go into a couple reasons why you want to make sure you follow the manual, okay? There's a couple key things here. Number 1 is you want to make sure that you give your customer all the right information, okay? Because do you think your customer would prefer a smooth salesperson or the right information? The right information. Yeah, okay? Sam knows. All right? You want to make sure you give them the right information. Yes, eventually you could become a smooth salesperson, but I never want to feel like I'm lying to my customer, okay? So I always want to make sure I give them the right information. Another big reason is that it's actually going to save you time, okay? This will make your demo as long as it's supposed to be. When you don't follow the manual, it actually ends up being longer. And the reason is because you forget stuff. And then now you have to go back and backtrack, and so it makes your demo longer. Another big reason is it helps you stay on track, okay? I can always tell when somebody stopped reading the manual is because they'll be reading, and then all of a sudden, they just like start rambling, and then they do this, or they pause, they go, oh, okay, yeah. And so another thing, and it's because they got lost, because they just all of a sudden stopped reading the manual, and now they have no idea where they have to go. All right? Once again, makes the demo longer. You don't sound as confident or as professional. Okay? And last thing that I need to say on this one's going to sound a little harsh, but I don't mean it that way, okay, is are your words as good as our words? No. Okay? And the reason is, how much Cutco have you guys sold? 0. Absolutely nothing. You have sold no Cutco, okay? This manual was written and made by people who have sold millions of dollars worth of Cutco, okay? It was between the managers and the CSPs. We literally just asked them, like, hey, how do you sell so much? And they went, oh, we do this. And we went, cool. And then we wrote it down, and then we gave it to you. Okay? The manual is perfect. It's advanced. Our philosophy is actually to teach advanced skills and basic training so you don't have to learn many new things. Okay? This manual is the culmination of 70 plus years of experience and billions of dollars in sales. This is why I say don't reinvent the wheel, okay? Because no offense, at this point, your words aren't as good as our words. My philosophy is once you sell $1 million worth of Cutco, you can say and do whatever you want. Until then, follow the manual because it works. Okay? And when you follow the manual 100%, you build 100% of the potential value. If you follow the manual 75%, you build 75% of the potential value. And if you don't follow it at all, well, I don't know how much value you're building. My manager used to always tell me, if you want to bake a cake, you follow the recipe. Okay? If you don't follow the recipe, you will get something, but it won't be a cake. Okay? So if you want to be successful at the position, follow the programs and the process the way that we teach you guys. Right? It's all laid out exactly as you need it. Number 2, show qualified customers. Show qualified customers. Join me in the chat box. Who can tell me, what is a qualified customer? Okay, join me in the chat box. Who can tell me, what is a qualified customer? Full-time job, over the age of 30. Perfect. Thank you, Abby. Okay? So, 30 plus, working full-time. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. Somebody over the age of 30 and works full-time. That's the only thing that we need. And it's the only thing that we need. Join me in the chat box one more time. Why do you think we'd prefer to show somebody who's over the age of 30 and working versus somebody who's like in their 20s? I feel like the employed thing is obvious. Okay, they're responsible. See that? Any other guesses? Why else would we prefer to somebody who's over the age of 30 and working versus somebody that's in their 20s? Financially stable. I like how it's the exact same answer back to back. Thank you, Nana and Jasmine. Okay. Because they're more likely to be financially stable. They have more use for it in the kitchen. They're more likely to have a family to cook for. Okay. They're the target market, basically. Yes. Okay. That's two big reasons. Number one is value, which Tommy will talk about tomorrow. But number one is value. There is more value in the product for somebody over the age of 30 and working because, as you said, they probably have a family, or at least they're married. They're probably cooking more. Okay. They just have more use of a product like this. So there's more value. And number two is that they are capable of getting it. Okay? Because have I done demonstrations with people who are younger? Yes, I have. Have they bought stuff? No. It's very rare. And it's because, yes, they love the product. Everybody loves the product. It's Cutco. It just makes sense. I could show my 9-year-old cousin me cutting a cucumber and they'd be like, whoa. And I'd be like, I know. Would they be able to get it? Probably not. Okay? And so it's the capability, okay, to be able to buy the product. And that's why we want to make sure we show somebody who is also working, okay, has the financial capability to get it. All right. Now, am I saying that 20-year-olds and even sometimes unemployed people don't cook or don't buy knives? No. Okay. I'm just saying that it's really hard to do those demonstrations. And you want to set yourself up for success and do the easy ones. Best example I could think of this is if I wanted to teach somebody how to play basketball, okay? The easiest shot I could teach them is a layup. Okay? Easiest shot I could teach them is a layup. I'd be like, hey, stand here, look at the backboard, you see the box, bomb, just hit the corner. And they probably make, even if they suck, they're not very very like physically fit or know how to play the sport at all, okay? They'll probably still make anywhere from 6 to 8 out of 10 shots. Okay? And how do you think they'll feel about the sport? Pretty good. Be like, I'm pretty good at this. You see that, Christina? I'm amazing. They'll feel great. Okay? But imagine somebody's never played basketball before. Okay? I'm teaching Abby how to play basketball. She's never played basketball before in her entire life. Okay? And the first shot I decide to teach her isn't a layup. I decide to teach her a 3-pointer first. Okay? So even if she makes a couple, like 1 or 2, do you think she feels very confident in her capabilities in basketball? No. She's like, I suck. I don't think this is the sport for me. Okay? And it's not that she's bad. It's that I taught her the hardest thing first. And that's what happens sometimes with representatives is that they start by showing like their friends, okay? Their 20-year-old friends. They're like, oh, Christina, nobody's getting anything. And I'm like, that's so wild, okay? That 20-year-olds don't want high quality kitchen cutlery. It's crazy to me. Absolutely mind-blowing, okay? But it's not that the representative's bad or doing the job wrong. They're just showing the wrong market. Okay? So then it makes them feel like they're bad at the job, but they're not. So we want to make sure that you guys start with the best people first because I would take quality over quantity. Okay? So what I want you guys to focus on is just free throws and and layups, okay? Tommy's going to talk about tomorrow what your best customers would be. That's what a real layup is, okay? A qualified customer is really more of a free throw, okay? Where they're like the bare minimum. It's not that hard, okay? But it is still the bare minimum, okay? We'll talk about what a best customer would look like. They're called MAC, okay? M-A-C. All right, those are our best customers. But let's just focus on those because it makes your job a lot easier. Is that fair? Is everybody okay with that? Cool. So, number 3. Number 3 is have fun. Number 3 is have fun. This one's really easy, okay? It means be enthusiastic. Okay? Be enthusiastic. Because buying anything is an emotional experience. Have you guys ever been to the mall or shopping on a bad day? Okay? It's not a very fun experience, right? Okay? Like nothing fits. Nothing's on sale. You don't really want to be there, okay? Like the whole process is just annoying. Have you ever been shopping or to the mall on a good day? Okay? Yes. It's kind of dangerous, right? You're like, everything on sale, everything fits. You're like, oh, wait, I'm spending too much money, okay? And it's because buying anything is an emotional experience. And I'm going to let you guys know that enthusiasm sells. Enthusiasm is the key to persuasion without using any pressure at all. Because your excitement and your enthusiasm level is going to dictate the customers. And you remember what I said, the customers are always going to reflect you. Because it would be weird if Jasmine went to an appointment and her customer was more excited than she was. Okay? Like, can you imagine? She shows up, she's like, yes, I'm showing Cutco. And they're like, Cutco? I love Cutco. And she's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Cut stuff. Right? That'd be weird. She's the one doing the demonstrations, but they're more excited than she is. That doesn't make any sense. All right? So your customer's always going to be a little bit below you in excitement. But what I also want to make sure is clear is that you guys show excitement in the way that you show excitement. I don't need any of you sitting here, like Abby may be sitting here like, man, how the heck am I going to be Christina? Don't be me. Be you. Okay? However you get excited, do that. Because I'm sure the way that Jordan and Damien show excitement is also different. Just do whatever your 10 is. Okay? Now, I also want to let you in on a secret. As I said, your customers are always going to be less excited than you, but you always want to be 2 notches above them. So yes, I want you to be very enthusiastic and excited, but I also don't want you to be overwhelming, okay? Because sometimes I ask reps, I'm like, oh, if you want your customer to be at a 10, like, what do you need to be at? And everybody always goes, 100, and I'm like, in theory, that makes sense. But in practice, that's you screaming at them. So if we could refrain from that, that would be great. All right. So I always say be 2 notches. Okay, be 2 notches above your customer. Okay. So if Jordan's at an 8, okay, I'm gonna be at a 10 because I want to match like his vibes. If he's at a 6, I want to be at an 8. I'm always gonna be more excited, but I don't want to be overwhelming. Make sense? Perfect. And then one of the last things I want to say is the last 4 letters of enthusiasm. I-A-S-M. Those stand for I am sold myself. Okay, the last 4 letters of enthusiasm. I-A-S-M stand for I am sold myself. Because people don't buy Cutco. What they do buy is your conviction and your belief in the product. They buy because you genuinely believe they should. Easy example is, let's say, Sam, you go to a restaurant and you ask the waiter, hey, what's good here? And the waiter goes, oh man, you've got to try the steak. Like the steak's like the best thing on the menu. Okay? Unless he's a vegetarian, he's probably going to go, I guess I got to try the steak. Okay? Like, sounds good. Okay? But imagine instead, Enrique goes to a restaurant and he asks the waiter, hey, what's good here? And the waiter goes, the soup's pretty good. Okay, soup's all right. All right. Are any of you excited to eat there? No, you're like, I'll take a water and a check, please. Thank you very much. You're like, oh yeah, no, this is not the place. You work here and you couldn't think of anything. Ooh, yeah, no, I don't know. I won't eat that. Okay. And that's why I say that your enthusiasm level is going to dictate theirs. Okay. If you're not excited, why should the customer be? Okay? It's your job. You're the one selling it. And if you're not excited, why should they be? So rule of thumb is you should feel a little awkward. Not a lot, a little awkward, okay, about how excited you're getting. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody before where they like brought up something that you were really into? Like really, really into it. It just made you like go on like a little tangent. You're like, oh yeah, and then this and this, and then you just got so excited about it. Okay? I want you guys to get, maybe not exactly that excited, but I want you to be on that level. I want your customers to be confused about why you're so excited about knives. Okay? Where they're like, well, they must be good. Like, Damien's over here just rambling about knives. Like, they must be good. Like, what the heck is going on? I want it to be to that level. Okay? Rule of thumb, you should feel a little awkward. Not a lot awkward, but just a little awkward about how excited you're getting. Does that make sense? Perfect. Okay? Number 4. Okay, number 4, last one. Is call your manager for the best deals. Okay, call your manager for the best deals. Right? Easy example I have for this one. Okay? And you can just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down for these questions. If Cutco were free, do you think people would take it? Okay, like if I was just giving you guys Cutco for free, would you take it? Yeah, 100%. Okay? So if Cutco were free, people would take it, obviously. And if they took it, do you think they would use it? Okay, if I gave you Cutco free, you would use it. Awesome. And if they use it, do you think they would love it? Yes, for sure, 100%. Okay? So my mindset on this always is if they don't like it, don't call. But do you think that's ever going to happen? No. Okay? I've never done a demonstration before where somebody was like, oh, I just don't like it. I've gotten objections before of, oh, it's a little bit too much, or I gotta talk to my spouse, whatever it is, okay? But I've never had somebody flat out tell me, well, Abby, I just don't like it. It's just not a good product, okay? That has never happened before because it's Cutco. Like, that's just not going to happen, all right? So my philosophy is if they like it, let's help them get it. Okay? If they like it, let's help them get it. That's why I say call your manager for the best deal so we can help you find something that's going to fit for them. Because like I said, sometimes, yeah, you're going to have some customers who are like, I want the big one, but they can't get the big one. So it's us helping them walk down to get something that they can get. Okay? Sometimes the price is a little bit out of budget and it's us giving them a friends and family discount so that they can get that. Okay? Sometimes it's us giving them more free stuff so that they can get what they want. Okay? There are payments, all right? 2, 3, and 5. Okay? And you know what's great about those as well is they're interest free. All it is literally taking the price, dividing it by 5, dividing it by 3 or 2, and then that's it. That's what they pay. Of course, we had tax, but you know, that's what they pay. It's to make it as easy and simple as possible because in our mind, if somebody likes it, let's help them get it. It's a great product. I want people to get the product. Even if that's just the shears or the spatula spreader today. And the easiest way to do that is just call your manager for the best deals. Okay? Because once again, 7 years of experience. I can't teach it all in 3 days. But you know what you can do is Jordan can call Tommy. He can put Tommy on speaker and be like, hey, you know, they're really interested in this, but they said it's a little bit too much today. You know, what can we do? And Tommy can just talk to the customer and close the deal for Jordan. And then once again, Jordan gets all the credit. And you think if you guys hear us do these things over and over and over and over again, that you're eventually going to learn how to do it yourself. Yeah, for sure. Okay? That's why I want you guys to call us as much. And once again, it's not a question. Hey, can I call my manager? No, it's, hey, just real quick. If I was doing this with Jasmine, I'd be like, hey, Jasmine, real quick, I'm just going to go and call my manager, see if we can get you a better deal. Okay? He said we could do this. That's it. Okay? I'd mute myself. I would talk to my managers. Very simple. And I'm not going to sit on the phone with you for 10 minutes. This is usually a quick, like, 2-3 minute call. And if anything, like I said, you can put me on speaker and I'll talk to your customer for you. Now, if you do this, please let us know, okay? And let us know what's going on either. Some of you will do this. You'll be like, okay, yeah, so Christina, this is my Aunt Sally. And I'm like, okay, like, well, what's going on? What do they want? What are they interested in? I have no information. You've thrown me in blind, okay? Like, let us know what's going on. Hey, they're interested in the homemaker set. They said it's a little bit too much today. They want this and this for free. What can we do? Okay? So we can be better prepared to help you guys out, all right? And then I can also turn my customer service voice on, you know. It gets a little higher pitched than this. So, yeah, okay? You guys know. So So little stuff like that. So let's go over these one more time, all right? Follow the manual. It works. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, follow the manual. It works. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Show qualified customers. Okay, we're taking layups and free throws this weekend. I don't want you guys taking any half-court shots or three-pointers, all right? Start off at your skill level right now. I don't want you to waste any appointments either. That's always the worst. Okay, have fun. Be enthusiastic. Make your customer have fun. Make jokes, okay? I know it's a job. You should take it serious, okay? But you can have fun. You can make jokes. You can make it enjoyable. And then lastly, call your manager for the best deals. Cool? Do these 4 things. Every single demo, I promise you'll do well here. Okay, this is literally what Christian does every single time. All right, it's very, very simple. It's nothing crazy. I remember I even told him that people don't follow the manual, and he was like, why? He's like, where? He was like so lost. I was like, sometimes you just gotta give people tips, like follow the manual. And he was like, that's a tip you need to give? I was like, yeah, people just don't follow the manual. And what I found, actually, the reason people don't follow the manual, this is a bonus tip for you guys. I found the reason people don't follow the manual is not because of what they're saying, is they need to figure out how they want to say it. Okay? The words aren't the issue, but they just haven't figured out, okay, how do I make this sound like me? How do I say the words? Where do I pause? Where do I inflect? All that stuff. And the way you get better at that is you just say it more. That's why we do role playing in training, okay? And we have you guys say it out loud so that the first time you read the manual isn't with your customer, it's with us. Okay? So that's the biggest tip I can give you. If you ever sit here and you're like, it doesn't sound like me. No offense, I don't want it to, okay? But the biggest issue is you just haven't figured out the how. Okay? You haven't figured out the how. So let's get into the demonstration. So as it says, start demo here, and you're only going to read the black font. Everything in blue is just tips for you, all right? But the black is what you need to say. So build rapport, social etiquette, all that stuff. So building rapport, you're going to want to spend about 5 to 10 minutes building rapport, building a connection with your customer. Okay, you're going to get to know them. You're going to catch up. You're going to ask questions. And I always say, remember the 3 Ps: people, pets, profession. People, pets, profession. This is easy. I can ask Abby about the people in her lives. Okay, tell me about your spouse. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your friends, your family, blah, blah, blah. Now, heads up, when you're building rapport, this is not an interview. Okay, I'm not just rambling off questions to Abby of like, yeah, tell me about your husband, tell me about your kids, tell me about your job, tell me about your favorite hobbies, tell me about your pet, how old are they, where'd you get them? Like, I'm not just rambling off questions. This is a conversation. Okay, because it should be reciprocal. If I ask Abby about her pets, be like, hey, do you have any pets? Okay, she'll go, oh yeah, I don't know, you have a dog. Okay, she's like, yeah, I got a dog. And I'll probably ask her, okay, cool, what's your dog's name? Okay, and she'll tell me. And then she'll probably ask me, do you have any pets? And I'll go, oh yeah, I have 2 dogs, okay, named Luke and Luna. And then I'll go back and forth, and I'll ask her, what kind of dog is it? Okay, and I'm just making conversation. That's all this is. Make sense? Okay, not an interview, should be conversation, but you want to make sure that you're building good conversation with that. So like I said, you can ask about the people, you can ask about pets, profession, okay? What do you do for a living? How'd you get into it? Or you can steal Christian's thing of like, hey, if you were my age, what what's something you wish you did differently, to help you get on track to wherever you're at? Obviously fill in the blanks with what they're doing. Okay? And then you thank them. Thank you so much for taking the time to see my presentation. It really means a lot. And then you'll go into your personal story. So do you guys remember when I told you for have a section for your demonstration or presentation notes? Go ahead and pull that out. Okay, your first page it should be. So you're going to tell them your personal story. Hey, let me tell you a little bit more about me. Okay, let me tell you a little bit more about me. I'm going to tell you mine just so you have an example. So let me tell you a little bit more about me. I moved from Vegas about 3 years ago. My dad's in the Navy. He works at the Marine Quantico base, and my mom works at Mary Washington Hospital as a nurse. And I go to Northern Virginia Community College as a psychology major, and I'm looking to either get into art therapies or industrial organizational psychology is like the business side of things, but I just haven't decided yet. Cool. And that was it. I covered pretty much all the bases. School, major, family, dream jobs. My hobbies are pretty boring. I just like to read and play games. So, but some people have cool hobbies, so they like to share those things, right? Like I play sports or I build stuff. That's cool. But notice that my intro is just a very quick little snippet on myself. All right? It's like maybe a minute, right? Hey, this is a little bit about me because I want them to know a little bit about me, okay? But I also don't want this to be really long-winded because I should have been building rapport with them, been talking to them. I don't need to spend 10 minutes telling them about me because you always want to be more interested than interesting. There you go. Had to make sure. You always want to be more interested than interesting. Right? You're already going to talk for 45 minutes. It doesn't need to be all about you. Okay? The first 10 can be about them. Cool? But I also want to make sure you guys have this written down so that you're not fumbling and making it up every single time. Because then it's weird. It sounds like you don't know about you. Okay? Like, can you imagine Jordan's just like, yeah, I go to school and I'm majoring in business and like, so do you not know what you're saying? Even though it's about you. That sounds really weird. Okay? So I want it written out, a sentence or two about you. Cool? After that, we're going to get into goals. So you guys can work on this while I go into more about the demo. So now you'll notice that the demo is lined up, okay? So now there's a little picture. It tells you where you should be at on the customer side. So now I can scroll down to thank you for helping me reach my goals. And so I'll talk about those. Okay? So Aunt Jelena, do you mind if I share some of my goals with you? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So as you can imagine, a lot of my friends have spent a majority of the pandemic watching Netflix, playing video games, or just hanging out. But I'm using this as an opportunity to build my resume and improve my communication skills. This position allows me to meet and network with all kinds of people from various industries, places, and demographics. So I really appreciate you seeing my demo. I'm working with Cutco because, and so then you'll go into what are your goals. Now, when you're sharing your goals, okay, when you're sharing your goals, you just want to make sure it's things that people can get tied into, okay, or built into, whichever you want to call it. All right, so I'm working with Cutco because, this is mine, because since I'm a psychology major, I'm going to be talking to people all the time, and I just want to build up my communication skills now so I don't have to worry about doing it later on. I also want to be able to help my parents out with paying for school before my sister starts going to college and, you know, being able to be a little bit more independent there. And honestly, one of my biggest goals is just being able to treat my parents out to something nice because they've helped me with a lot when it came to moving out. And that was it. Okay? And I still have this memorized. I haven't said that exact one in forever, okay? Like in an actual demonstration, okay? But those are my goals. Now, notice I gave whys behind my goals. I didn't just say I'm working with Cutco because I want skills and money. Because if I say that, then my Uncle Sam's gonna be like, cool, that's why I work too. Okay, like it's not really compelling. It's nothing that he can get bought into or tied to, because people like to be a part of stuff, but they also want to be a part of something nice, okay? Something they feel like they're making a contribution to. Now, am I saying these goals because I want to guilt them into getting stuff? No. Okay, it's the same thing. I've had people when I'm hiring them for the job. I remember just a couple weeks ago, I had somebody, Holly, where I was going through, and you know the question, hey, why should we bring you onto the team? Or why do you think you'll be a good fit on the team? Okay, and so she's telling me, hey, I'm going to work super hard because I'm trying to become, I have a lot of pilots for some reason, okay? I'm trying to become a pilot. She's like, but flight school is really expensive, and I don't want my parents to have to pay for the whole thing. So I'm going to work as hard as possible so I can save up as much money as possible so I can get into this flight program, okay? Now, she's not telling me that so that I'm guilted into hiring her. She's just telling me, well, this is why I'm working so hard. Okay? And it's the same thing with your customers. And now they're built into you of like, okay, this person's working hard. Okay? Now I'm bought into them and the product. Okay? So, so making sure that you share those goals, but share the whys behind them. It's one of the biggest things is share the whys behind them. I'm working with Cutco because of blank. And it's to get me blank. Cool? So that's your goals. Have those in your presentation notes as well. And then you'll talk about your fast start. So I just started my fast start contest and I have 10 days to blank. I'll learn this one on the 3rd day, so you'll be able to fill in that blank. Through Cutco, I can earn a President's Club letter, which will look great on my resume. And this would be a personalized letter of recommendation from the president of our company. And it would be a great compliment to my resume for when I interview with other companies down the road. If you're a student, say this. If you're not a student, don't say this. I also have the chance to win an All-American Scholarship to help with school, and there are approximately 10,000 students who work with our company around North America. And if I'm in the top 50, I want a scholarship from the company, as well as a matching donation to my school's career center. Okay? Then you'll go into what is Cutco. So now you'll be lined up here. So I personally wouldn't feel comfortable representing a low quality product or service, and that's why I'm really proud to be showing Cutco. Cutco is the only high quality knife brand that's still made in America, and our factory is actually located in Olean, New York, up near Niagara Falls, and we've been in business since 1949. Our company has accumulated over 16 million customers during the last 73 years, and we are currently selling more Cutco than ever. Last year alone, we sold over $300 million, and that's almost $1 million per day. This is great because our customers are going to have high quality knives that are dishwasher safe. If anything ever breaks or needs sharpening, Cutco will take care of it for free with no questions asked, even for generations to come. People love the fact that Cutco is a one and done. You buy it once, use it every single day, and never have to replace it because of our forever guarantee. Now, Uncle Jordan, since I just started, I'm going to be reading from my manual. Is that okay? Perfect. Okay. And that's it. That's how you would go through and explain what Cutco is to them. Last thing I want to say, tip before we get into the video. This is my Cutco rep, which I'm going to explain more on the 3rd day. But when you guys download your app tomorrow, we could talk a little bit about this one. Okay. So we're just going to skip that. But last tip I want to give you guys before we go into some last things and I switch to Tommy is this one's very simple, but it's just smile. Now, This does not mean that Enrique has to smile throughout the whole entire 45-minute demonstration. That would be insane. Okay, can you imagine? He's just like, yes, I'm so happy the whole entire time. Okay, that's creepy. Don't do that. But I do think that your body language should reflect what you're saying. Okay, your body language should reflect what you're saying. Okay, so easy right here. So like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything, but if you do see something you like, you can get it today. Not only would you be getting a great product, you would be helping me out towards my goals. Okay, so I'm going to smile when I say that because I'm excited about it. I want them to be excited about the product and my goals. Now imagine if I didn't smile when I said that, okay? So like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything, but if you do see something you like, you can get it today. Not only would you be getting a great product, you would really be helping me out towards my goals. Okay? Which one sounds more enthusiastic? The first one. Okay? The other one also sounds more confident in what I'm saying. Right? So that's why you should smile when you're saying stuff. Like I said, I don't have to smile throughout the whole entire thing, but I'm going to smile when something is reflecting that I'm trying to be happy or excited. Okay? This also is important, is that there's going to be times where you're saying stuff that is not happy or exciting. So don't smile when you say that. Okay? Like... For the products, Tommy will talk about this, okay? We're going to talk about what they're good for, but also what they're not good for. So it transitions into the next knife. So when I'm talking about, hey, the paring knife's not great for, chopping or dicing, I'm not going to smile when I say that, okay? But like, oh yeah, well, this is terrible for this, okay? While I'm smiling. That doesn't make any sense, okay? That, once again, what you're saying should reflect your body language. Cool? Small little tip, but will help. So let's get into the video here. So, like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything, but if you do see something you like, you can get it today. Not only would you be getting a great product, you'll be helping me out towards my goals. Now, I'm only able to work through referrals, so my biggest goal today is that you like me and Cutco enough to introduce me to some of your friends. Cutco is awesome. You can buy sets or pieces, and we have tons of accessories and gifts. We also have an interest-free monthly investment option, so you don't have to pay for it all at once. Now, just so I know, do you cook because you have to, like to, or love to? Join me in the chat box real quick. Do you guys cook because you have to, like to, or love to? Like to, have to, no. Have to, like to, have to, love to. Okay? Good to know. So there's a range of you in there, and there's going to be a range of answers that you get as well. Obviously, if somebody likes to or loves to cook, you're going to say, great, you're going to love Cutco. Join me in the chat box one more time. If somebody says they feel like they have to cook, or even worse, they don't like cooking, okay, why do you think they would still love Cutco? Okay, why do you think they would still love Cutco? Okay, potential gift for someone, easier replacements to work with, better quality, great product lifetime, never have to have the knife convo again, makes it easier, okay? So, good answers, even some that I haven't seen in a bit, okay? But there's two big reasons. Some of them you guys already put, but there's two big reasons. Number one is it makes the job easier, okay? It makes the job easier so then they can get the job done faster. But number two, is that most of the time I found that the reason people hate cooking is because their knives suck. And it takes them an hour to cut a tomato. Of course you would hate cooking, okay? So when they actually have the right tool for the right job, they sometimes actually enjoy the process a lot more, so it allows them to actually enjoy cooking now. But I've always said, even if they don't, once again, it gets the job done faster and it makes it easier. Because I think we can all agree, if you have the right tool for the right job, it makes the job a lot faster. Okay? It's way easier for me to hammer in a nail with a hammer instead of like the cleaver, like some of my customers do. Anyway, so people are wild. That's all I need to tell you. So no matter what, you're going to say, great, you're going to love Cutco. I just want to make sure you have the confidence to say that because now you understand. No matter what they say, great, you're going to love Cutco. Then we'll go into the product video. The first part of my presentation is a short 8-minute video that will tell you all about our company, our product, and our guarantee. This will be the longest video I play, and it would take me way longer to explain this information myself without the video. I'll be pointing out some important information during it, so just sit tight. A couple of things to know. These are all real customers. Some of them have had Cutco for decades. Notice the forever guarantee. This is what makes us a top-selling brand in North America. And then during the video, you're going to be talking during it. So you would pause it at this mark, this mark, this mark, and this mark, okay? Now, if you're doing a phone demo, the way a phone demo would work, let's say I'm doing this with my uncle Damien, I would tell him to go to this website. So I'd be like, hey, go to this website, and I would have this site up, okay? And then you're just walking them through it. The only difference is that when you're doing this video, okay, when they click theirs, obviously you're not going to have any control over it because it's going to be on their end. So the way to make sure you're staying on pace is you can play the customer side on your end. Okay, so right here, I would mute it. That way I know roughly where their video's at. So then I know when I need to talk. Does that make sense? It's the only biggest difference for phone demos. Okay? Now, for teaching purposes, I'm not going to talk during this video because I want you guys to pay attention, write down some notes, and I'm going to have you share your biggest takeaways before we pass it over to Tom. And I'm also going to show you how to speed it up 1.25 to make it an 8-minute video instead of a 10-minute video.
You know,
So,
I
you're
think
gonna
we
click
got
settings.
knives for our wedding. They didn't last the test of time.
Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and full screen this. I'm going to share my audio. And like I said, take notes.
I cut things and like saw through the tomato and it's starting to like mush underneath me.
It seemed that they got dull very quickly. Sometimes we just couldn't find the right knife to do what we needed it to do. But since we've got Cutco and we have the variety of knives, each knife really does something different.
When we first picked up the knives, we could tell the difference. We weren't used to having such sharp blades, the tools working like they were supposed to.
We actually use them so frequently, I can't put them away. It's just part of our kitchen now.
When it comes to preparing food and cooking meals for your family, a set of sharp, dependable knives in your kitchen can be the difference between cooking because you have to or cooking because you want to. With the right knives, food preparation is a breeze. With the wrong ones, not so much.
I can't compare the Cutco to any knife that they sell in a department store because I've tried them all. The only knives I have are Cutco's.
We're preparing meals for 10 people 3 times a day. I need a knife that I know I can go to that has the quality that's going to work every time, and Cutco does it for me. Cutco quality is #1.
Since 1949, for millions of families across the country, the right knives are Cutco knives. Cutco knives are made right here in America, always have been. And today, hundreds of Cutco team members craft each knife with an artisan's eye for quality and detail. This level of craftsmanship is one of the reasons that every Cutco knife comes with a forever guarantee, a powerful promise we've stood behind since our founding in 1949. That means your Cutco set will be the last set of knives you'll ever need to buy. 10 years, 20 years, even generations down the road, Cutco will sharpen your knives and replace any defective item for free. No one else does that because no one else is Cutco.
They stand behind their product, which is very rare. And they're an American company, which is even better.
It's a lifetime warranty, so I did have the experience of having it once replaced with no questions asked.
Warranty on a knife that we've had for over a decade, and we've had a couple knives replaced that have been damaged. It was very easy.
Cutco can make this guarantee because of the unique patented design and the meticulous multi-step construction process that goes into its knives. It's what makes Cutco unique and a cut above all others in quality, durability, and user satisfaction. Cutco puts each blade through a 3-step heat treating process, creating the best balance of hardness, flexibility, rust and stain resistance, and edge retention. After that, the blade is meticulously polished to enhance rust resistance. And then comes the secret to Cutco's sharpness and durability, the exclusive Double D recessed edge. This process creates a series of 3 razor-sharp edges on the blade, with pointed teeth that protect it from contacting surfaces that might dull the knife. The Double D recessed edge allows the blade to cut forward, backward, or straight down with equal ease. You can cut virtually anything, which makes food preparation easy, fast, and fun. Here's proof of how sharp a Cutco blade is. This is a tough piece of leather, and using a regular kitchen knife, even a brand new one, cutting it is practically impossible. Now, watch what the Cutco table knife can do. Notice its rounded design for added safety, and no rivets, so it looks great on your table. But can it cut? Can it ever?
Sharpness is everything. The product from Cutco is head and shoulders above any other knife that I've ever used. They do exactly what I want them to do for me every single time.
Here's something you might not know. You may already own an incredibly expensive set of knives. Ever seen a kitchen drawer that looks like this? Loads and loads of knives, most of which you never use because they're too dull or aren't right for the job. That's money wasted. A lot of money when you add it all up. It's actually much more cost-effective to invest in a set of quality knives. Knives that come with a forever guarantee. Knives that are designed for every conceivable kitchen duty. Knives that you'll be happy to use every day. Let's take a quick look at a few of the most popular knives in a set. If you've ever tried to cut a tomato with a dull knife, you know how frustrating and messy it can be. The Cutco trimmer makes quick work of tomatoes, oranges, apples, cucumbers, great for sectioning grapefruit and oranges. Easily trims and bones meat, poultry, and fish. It's even a great bar knife for lemons and limes. This versatile knife is a star of your set, and one of the key reasons Cutco won About.com's Reader's Choice Award for Best Cutlery Brand.
The trimmer. I love the trimmer. That's my favorite knife. I use it when I'm cutting up salads and I'm trimming a steak.
I use it for my meats like chicken, roast. I really use it for everything. So it's a pretty multi-purpose knife.
Ready to do some chopping, dicing, slicing, and mincing? The Home Chef now has a classic knife at their disposal, the Petite Chef. Just place the tip on the cutting board and rock the blade, using the back of the blade to do the cutting. When done this way, you feel as though you're cutting air.
My favorite Cutco knife is the chef knife. Just cutting the lettuce when we want it super fine or really chopped really fine, it makes cooking a lot easier.
It has the nice long blade and chop quickly. I don't think I realized how efficient that would be.
And now, the knife that's more than a knife, the Cutco Spatula Spreader. It's the world's premier sandwich and bagel knife. Spread mayo, cream cheese, or jellies. No muss, no fuss. Cut cakes with ease. Serve up neat, appetizing portions of lasagna. Slice up a pizza.
By far, my favorite knife is the spatula knife. Great for sandwiches.
You can cut the bagel, then you can scoop the spread. It's all with one tool.
Finally, let's look at a knife you probably won't use every day, but when you need it, you'll be so glad it's in your set. It's the renowned Cutco Butcher Knife. It may look intimidating, but use it once and you'll wonder how you ever got along without it. Heavy duty and tough, it easily segments and trims big cuts of meat and disjoints poultry. Watch it go through a squash, pineapple, even a watermelon at a single pass.
Butcher knife, great for cutting meat. Just goes through it like crazy.
It's so easy to get around. You don't have to worry about the heat because it has that length.
Having the right knife for the right job is like having the right club for every shot, the right tool for every task, the right shoes for every occasion. With the right set of Cutco knives, your work goes faster, better, and is a lot more rewarding. With Cutco knives, cooking is fun. Beyond that, using a dull knife, especially for the wrong purpose, is a serious safety hazard. It's been proven that most kitchen accidents involve the knife, especially a dull knife. That's because people force dull knives and use them improperly in order to get them to cut, and that's how accidents happen. Sharp, safely stored, and properly used knives are a far safer choice and make your kitchen a much more enjoyable place. All the knives in your Cutco set are guaranteed to be sharp forever because we'll sharpen them for free, anytime, anywhere, no matter how long ago you bought them. How sharp are they? Watch this. This is the Cutco Petite Carver. Our customers have given this knife a 5-star rating on Cutco.com, and no wonder. This is a length of thick rope. It's tough and fibrous, like a big roast. Now watch this. If it can cut rope like this, imagine how easily it will glide through your toughest cutting jobs.
Other knives I had to saw through and saw through. With Cutco, I have not had to do that. They stay sharp. I have been 100% satisfied.
It's clear that a Cutco knife set is the premier choice and the most important set of tools in your kitchen. So now let's talk value. Remember that every knife in every set is American-made in Cutco's own facility in upstate New York and is completely covered by Cutco's one-of-a-kind forever guarantee. These are knives that will last for your lifetime and beyond. Nobody else offers that kind of value.
The Cutco knives made a huge difference in our kitchen. For 15 years, we've had the same set of knives. Everybody talks about the good quality and the sharpness of it, how long it stays sharp. I know that we've gotten our money's worth out of those knives.
Remember, too, that Cutco knives are made of the highest quality materials. The handles, for example, are not wood or cheap plastic, but thermal resin for far greater strength, dishwasher endurance, and long-term durability. They won't crack, splinter, chip, or absorb grease. Wooden handles can become bacteria breeding grounds, and cheap brass rivets quickly discolor and show their age. Cutco exclusively uses corrosion-resistant nickel-silver rivets for the utmost in appearance and durability. This customer favorite has a 5-star rating for a reason. Strong and versatile. You can use them in the kitchen, the garden, anywhere. Cut everything from delicate herbs to that ridiculously tough plastic packaging your regular scissors just can't handle. And the heavy-duty blades separate for easy cleaning. How powerful are the shears? Strong enough to easily cut through this penny. Your Cutco representative is ready to answer any questions you may have and help you choose the set that turns this into this and this into this. Thanks for choosing Cutco. American made, forever guaranteed.
Okay, join me in the chat box real quick, guys. And just let me know what was your biggest takeaway. What was your biggest takeaway? Good investment. Trimmer is the most favorite. Okay. Any other takeaways? Avoid those germs. Get with the thermal resin handle. Okay, free sharpening or replacement. No questions asked. The effectiveness of them. Confidence in how good the knives are. Good. Very high quality. Can still get them replaced. Okay, I think that's almost everybody. Perfect. Well, Tommy, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you so you can go into the individual pieces.
Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Now, just so you guys are aware, I'm going to talk about the guarantee, which is the next thing, right? And then when we get to the individual pieces, I'm going to be having you guys do popcorn reading. If you guys remember what this means from school, it means I'm going to randomly call on each of you to read a part of the manual, right? So that being said, be prepared to unmute. Make sure it's a little bit quieter if you're able to, okay? But main thing is be prepared to unmute. Make sure your mic is all set up and everything. So let's talk about the next part. So after you play the video, and remember, you don't just click play on the video, right? Thumbs up. Can you guys see my screen here? Can you see both here? Okay, great. It doesn't have the green outline anymore. That's fun. So remember, you don't just play the video, right? Like Abby, while you're going through it, you'll say, hey, isn't that guarantee amazing, right? It's really great that you're able to get a product you can buy once, use every day, and never have to replace. You pause it at 310, and you explain the difference between a serrated edge double D. You ask, ever seen a drawer like that before? Because most people have something like that. And then you talk about the thermal resin handles, okay? So let's talk about the guarantee now, all right? You're going to say, make sure that your slides match. So you're going to scroll down from here. You're going to go down to this slideshow. There will always be a picture that'll show you what slide you're supposed to be on. So you're going to say the only thing better than how Cutco works is our forever guarantee. And there are 4 parts to our guarantee. First is forever performance. If at any time anything goes wrong with your Cutco, the company will fix or replace it for free. So this one point alone lets you know that when you get Cutco, you are making a one-time investment. Forever sharpness. If at any time your Cutco needs sharpening, just send it back and it'll be sharpened and polished for free. All you pay is the shipping. We also offer free in-home sharpening. Just so you guys are aware, we are the only company in the world that offers free in-home sharpening to our customers. Do you think our customers like that? Heck yeah, right? It's an awesome product. It's really great quality materials and craftsmanship. But again, on top of that, we back it with that part of the forever guarantee. And if anything happens to it, what this means, just so you guys are aware, is that if anything happens, chips, cracks, breaks, bends, melts, fades, stains, or just goes dull, we fix, replace, and sharpen it for free for our customers. They could pass it down to their kids, their grandkids, their grandkids' kids. They could pass it down to their grandkids' grandkids. Shoot, Jaylena, they could pass it down to their grandkids' grandkids' kids. And the same guarantee is always going to apply. As long as it's Cutco, it's guaranteed forever. Is that pretty cool? Heck yeah, right? Like imagine buying something one time that you can use every single day and never have to replace. Wouldn't that be great? That's why people buy a lot of Cutco. That's why we're the #1 selling brand. But that being said, it's great because also like if a customer breaks a $300 or $400 chef knife from Shun, what do they have to go and do? They have to go buy another $300 or $400 chef knife. And that's what I love about Cutco's, because it's designed to be a high quality product that you don't have to worry about beating up, because if anything happens, we'll fix, replace it for free. Now, the misuse or abuse policy. If you ever happen to destroy your Cutco through unconventional use, you can send it back to the company and we will replace it for half the price. Now, this is like a blatant misuse or abuse, all right? For most of the part, 99.9% of the time, like Sam will just replace it for free for the customer, right? We're very customer service oriented, but there is that like 1 in 1,000, 2,000 plus scenario where we'll ask the customer to pay half price for the replacement. The only time I've ever seen this happen is one of my customers had our bread knife, which is like a 10-inch blade with a rounded tip and teeth on it. And he didn't like the fact that was as long as it was, with a rounded tip and with teeth on it. So instead of calling me, his rep, to see about swapping it out for a different knife, he took it to his own sharpening stone. He had a big old like mechanical wheel. He broke off the top 2 inches of the blade, sharpened it into a point with a straight edge. Now, you know what's funny about this? Like, Jasmine, if you would have called me, we have a knife that's literally that exact same shape and size with the same edge. Like, literally to the T. But he wanted to do it himself, which is cool. Now, what's awesome about this is that he can still send that knife back to the factory, and we won't even charge him full price for a replacement. We'll only charge him half of the current retail value if he wants a brand new one. Isn't that awesome? I love it, right? I love Cutco. It's insane. And then the last part is our unconditional money back guarantee. So, hey, by the way, all of you guys, I'm going to be calling you aunts and uncles because usually like your first points with friends and family. So you're all going to be my aunts and uncles today. All right. So Auntie Abby, I'm going to have you unmute. I'm going to ask you a question here real quick. Okay. So, hey, Auntie Abby, do you feel that you can make a better decision on the spot or by trying out a product first?
Trying a product out first.
Right, by trying it out. Well, that's why we have an unconditional money back guarantee. You can try the products for 15 days. And if for any reason you are not totally happy, you can get a full refund, no questions asked. Right? So what do you like most about, thank you, Auntie Abby, you crushed it, by the way. So what do you like most about the guarantee? Join me in the chat box. What's your favorite part about the guarantee? What's the part that stands out to you the most? What are you most excited about the guarantee? Money back. Jelena, do explain what you mean by money back. Damien, that it's free. Jasmine, forever. Mean like get a refund. Oh, get a refund. Gotcha. So like if they don't like it, they get a full refund. Yeah. By the way, do you guys think like once a customer uses Cutco, do you think they return it? No. Our return rate, just so you guys are aware, is the lowest out of any kitchen company. Like we crush it. And it's because Cutco's awesome, right? Free sharpening, Nana, hell yeah, right? Have it for generations. You'll be satisfied regardless. Yes, forever. Awesome. And you guys notice that we call it a forever guarantee and not a lifetime warranty. Has anybody heard of a lifetime warranty before? You've heard it on like cars, right? And with cars, it's what, 10 years or 100,000 miles, whatever happens first. You've heard a lifetime warranty on a refrigerator for 5 to 10 years, depending on the fridge. You've heard it on mattresses for the 8 years that it's supposed to last. So is a lifetime warranty meant to describe your lifetime? No, it's designed to encapsulate the lifetime of the product, right? So something that is worth writing down in your notes, especially if you want to take something away from training other than just how to sell knives, it's just basic marketing tactics and such. Most products out in the market have something called planned obsolescence, which to break it down means they plan for it to break down. They plan for the product to wear out. And they rely on the fact that, like, Damon, you're going to have to go buy that same product over and over and over again. And that's how they're going to maintain in business. A great everyday example you guys are familiar with is your cell phone. Who here has bought a cell phone with a 2-year warranty on it before? And it works great during those 2 years, doesn't it? Right? But as soon as those 2 years are up, what happens? That's when the phone starts having charger issues, not holding its charge, it's glitching. And so then what do you go and do? You go buy another $1,000 Android or iPhone. You keep the cycle going over and over and over until the end of time. And that's how these companies rely on their business, right? Would you guys rather spend more on a product, but you only buy it once, use it every day and never have to replace it? Like, would that be a hell of a lot better? Even if you had to put more money up front? Heck yeah, right? Like, would you guys spend $5,000 on an iPhone, but you never had to buy an iPhone ever again? 100%, right? Because think about how many iPhones you're going to replace in the next 10 years. Probably a heck of a lot more than $5,000 worth, right? And that's the whole idea behind Cutco, right? Is that we want to provide a quality product. But again, we don't expect it to break down. And that's why we're able to offer the forever guarantee, because of the way we design the knife, right? But that being said, let's continue on here with the next part, right? which is, okay, I'm gonna start by showing you the pieces in our most popular set, which is called the Homemaker. You guys see where it says click next slide? This means I go what? Next slide, bada bing, bada boom. The first slide shows the Homemaker plus 8 set. Do you see that? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you see my Homemaker plus 8 set. Okay, great. Let's keep it rolling. All right, so onto Jelena, you can buy individual pieces, but most customers agree that over a lifetime, sets are a much better value. It's important to have the right tool for the right situation because of safety and efficiency. And you guys have noticed that, has anybody noticed that some of the words are bold or capitalized and stuff like that? So this is important because we want to create emphasis. Now, creating emphasis is not yelling, right? Can you imagine you're like, because of safety and efficiency? No, man, I just scared the crap out of you, right? But you guys see, like, it didn't, like, it's just obnoxious. So the easiest way to create emphasis, again, another thing for your notes, if you want to take something away from this other than just how to sell knives, an easy way to create emphasis, whether it's a business presentation, a school presentation, you're trying to get a new job, whatever it is slow down what you're saying. Slow down what you're saying. The main point is, Jordan, you want to make a conscious decision to change the pacing of what you are saying and how you're saying it. Right? If you normally talk like this is how I normally talk. I'm a pretty fast talker. I come from an Hispanic and Italian background. So everything is this, and a lot of yelling in my household, right? But if I make a conscious decision to slow down, creates more emphasis on what I'm saying in that moment. Everybody got it? Cool. And so, by the way, like if you're nervous talking in front of people, it's a really easy way to create emphasis, just slow down, right? All right. So we have 2 larger set options for customers who love to cook called the complete and family sets, but I'm going to start with the pieces in our basic set, which is the most popular. It's called the Homemaker plus 8. It has the minimum number of tools to do 100% of the jobs in your kitchen as efficiently as possible. It's the best value for the average family, and it starts with and we'll go into the paring knife, right? Now, really quick on this, we call it the Homemaker plus 8 because and this will make more sense as we go through the slides, right? So there's 10 different pieces in the Homemaker set, but then it also comes with 8 table knives that are on the bottom. That's why we call it the Homemaker plus 8. You guys got that so far? So quick pop quiz question. How many table knives do you think the Galley plus 6 comes with? Show me with your fingers. How many? The answer is 6, right? So it's the Galley set plus 6 table knives. What about the Studio plus 4 set? How many do you think that one comes with? 4 table knives. You guys are crushing it. All right, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. Ready? How many table knives do you think the basic Homemaker comes with? It's close. Some of you guessed 1. It's 0, right? Because it's just the Homemaker set without the 8 table knives on the bottom. Is this making sense? So I just wanted to get you guys a little bit more familiar with some of the terminology that we use. If you don't get it right away, by the way, like, hey, Damien, don't worry about it. We have 3 days of training plus the rest of your career, right? It took me a good month or so before I got everything down. So don't worry about it. Now I'm at the point where I have all the item numbers memorized, so it's fine. So let's talk about the paring knife. So this is where you guys are going to start reading, okay? So remember, you want to match the slides. And the way this works is you're going to say the name of the knife. You're going to give, a lot of them have a nickname. And the reason why is because, Abby, they remember nicknames better, right? In the customer's head. And you guys are sometimes going to see the dimensions of the knife. Don't worry about that. Most customers, do you think they really care about the dimensions of the knife? They just care, does it cut well and what does it cut, right? If they care about the dimensions or the materials that it's used, then you can mention it. But most of the time you don't need to. So you're going to talk about what it's used for. Then you're going to say what it's not used for. The reason you mention what it's not used for is because the next piece that you talk about is what that is used for, right? So like, you don't want to use the paring knife on the cutting board. That's why you have your trimmer, right? You don't want to use the trimmer to spread. That's why you have the spatula spreader, so on and so forth, right? It's a very basic set, but it's very complementary to each other. So I'm going to have you guys read here. And basically what happens is, like, Abby, you're going to read the description of the knife. You're going to get to the part where it says play video. I'm going to play the video on my end, and you're going to keep reading until you get to the next knife. And then you'll stop, and then we'll switch to the next person. Everybody got it? So Abby, you are first on my screen, so I'm going to have you go first, and then we'll go Jelena, and then we'll go Damien. So Abby, go ahead and read for me, please, the paring knife, and I'll play the video once you get to it.
Okay. The paring knife. Cutco's air knife has a long handle which makes peeling and paring comfortable. You'll use this for small jobs like Sorry, brain fart. You'll use this for small jobs in the air like apples, strawberries, and bananas, but rarely on the cutting board. That's why you have your
Trimmer.
trimmer.
Perfect. Abby, that was awesome. All right. Now I want to point something out. And Abby, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus at all, but I think it's a great teaching topic. And I'm just using it as an example because it just happened. So you guys noticed that Abby tripped up on her words just a little bit, right? And that's fine. Like, Abby, it's your first time reading it. I don't expect you to have it perfect, but I wanted to point something out to you guys. Do your customers know that you're reading from the manual? Do they know what you're supposed to be saying and when you're supposed to be saying it? No, not at all. So when you mess up, do they know that you messed up? They have no idea. The only way they would know if you messed up is if you did, no, again, Abby, I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything, but if you did what Abby did, where she's like, oh shoot, brain fart, and then she like goes back into it. So the easiest way to handle this, has anybody gotten nervous talking in front of, like, doing public speaking or talking in front of people in class or a project or work or whatever? Great. So a great thing to do when you mess up is just pause and reread the exact thing you were just saying. Don't acknowledge the mistake. Don't recognize that it happened. Just pause and reread the exact same sentence. Because I guarantee you, if Abby had done that, you wouldn't have even known she had messed up. Your brain just like omits the information. So that being said, like when you get nervous, just pause, take a deep breath, reread. Cool? All right. Now with the paring knife, who here has used a paring knife before? Who here is on like paring, peeling, doing on potatoes, apples, stuff like that, taking stems out of stuff? Does anybody like when you peel the potato or an apple, it comes out more square than circle? Because you just keep getting out these huge chunks from it. So check this out. I'm not sure if you guys saw this video in its entirety, but I want to play this full screen just so you guys can see how insane this is. Check this out. Woo! Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Like right under the skin, perfect precision cut. I love Cutco, right? And you guys notice it's also a really long handle, so it's not going to dig into the palm of your hand and be uncomfortable, right? Now let's talk about the trimmer. So Jelena looks like she had to step away for a second. So Damien, we're going to skip to you. And then Jelena, you'll go after that. And then we'll go to Jordan. All right. So Damien, go ahead and read for me, please, the trimmer.
Okay. Trimmer. This is your small utility knife for small fruits and veggies. Check out how smooth this is. You'll never smash a tomato ever again. It's also great for cucumbers, oranges, lemons, and limes, and also for slicing raw chicken into strips. Which color do you like better, the dark, white, or red handles?
I really like the dark handles.
Everyone loves the versatility of the trimmer, but it's never used for spreading or serving. That's why you have your spatula spreader.
Perfect. And Damien, awesome job like emphasizing the "or" there and such. That was great, right? Now with the trimmer, so there's a couple important things with this, right? So the trimmer is probably one of the most versatile knives that Cutco makes. It's the #1 selling knife we've made since the 1940s, just because it's a great size. A lot of customers get a lot of value out of it. And it gets its name because it's good for trimming the fats off meats. But you guys see this right here, right? It says, which color do you like better, the dark, white, or red handles? Make sure you anytime you ask a question, you want to pause and wait for a response, because it's an invitation to create conversation during the appointment. You don't want to just be talking at the customer. You want to be making a conversation regarding the knives. Okay. That's good customer service, right? So that being said, we asked that, do you guys remember Christina? She might've briefly mentioned it. We're going to be teaching you advanced skills and basic training, so it doesn't feel advanced. Does anybody remember her saying that? Great. So this is one of those things. This is something called, there's two ways to phrase it. You can call it a buying question or a tie down question. Because do you guys think if the customer picks out their favorite color of the knife, do you think they're more likely to purchase it? Yeah, because it creates an emotional attachment, right? Like if you're at a car dealership and they're like, hey, what color would you get your Mazda in? You're more likely to get that car because you made that emotional attachment, right? And that being said, who here really likes the dark colored handles? Who here's like Tommy? Those are super spicy. I dig that. Who here's like Tommy? I like the white colored handles. Those are really, really nice. Very modern, like the sleek design. Does anybody like, I really like the red handles. Not going to lie. Those things are pretty crazy. Awesome. Whatever the customer says, you want to acknowledge the response. Just be like, hey, that's an awesome choice. A lot of customers like that one. Hey, I really like that one too. Whatever it is. But you want to make sure it's a positive response. Even if you don't agree with it, you want to make it positive. right? But this is also why it's important to have Mr. and Mrs. Jones on the appointment, because do you think they're always going to agree on what color they want? No, right? And by the way, who do you think makes the decision on what looks nice in the kitchen? Mrs. Jones, all day, every day. This is why we say don't do an appointment with who? Don't do an appointment with just Mr. Jones, because what's he going to say every single time? I need to talk to my wife. Literally a waste of time, because you'll have to reschedule the appointment to see the wife anyways, right? So just make sure that they're both there together, right? And if it's a same-sex couple, you'll always know who the Mrs. Jones in the relationship is, right? Because one of them will look at the other one and say, what do you want? Like what would look nice in your kitchen, right? And that's the person who decides. Even if the other one does all the cooking, the other one decides who's nice in the kitchen. Like if I were to ask Christina and her wife, Laura, like what color they want, even if I ask Christina, what's Christina going to do? She's going to turn to Laura and be like, hey, what color do you think looks nice in the kitchen, right? So again, just make sure they're both there, and it makes your job a million times easier. If you have to see one or the other, always the Mrs. Jones, okay? And again, it's nothing against Mr. Jones. It's just, that's the objection that comes up is I need to talk to my wife, right? But the trimmers, anybody here smashed a tomato before? Or like it comes out like just not the way you want it to? So check this out. Really, this is just insane, all right? I love Cutco. This is so cool. First of all, I didn't know I could even do this to a tomato with a knife like this. Like even though it has the teeth on it, look at that. That's awesome. And then check it out. You ready? Okay. Oh my God, I love it. That's awesome. I play the whole video, but we got a time limit. The trimmer is awesome. I love using it every single day. Your customers will love it too. Now let's talk about the spatula spreader. So Jelena, now have you go, and then we'll go Jordan, and then Nana, you'll be after that. So Jelena, if you could please read for me the spatula spreader.
The wide, flexible double D edge on this piece allows you to cut, spread, and serve sandwiches, bagels, lasagna, and cake. It's perfect for getting peanut butter and jelly out of a jar with super smooth spreading, or getting brownies out of the pan, but you'll never use it on meat or large vegetables. That's why you have your petite carver.
All right, Jelena, that was awesome. Thank you. So the spatula spreader, the easiest way to describe why I like this knife so much, well, there's two things. One is it's a really wide blade, and we polish the steel really, really well. So it's a perfect mirror. So anytime you're in the kitchen, you want to make sure you're looking good, you're good to go, right? No, but the second thing is like, who here has ever made a peanut butter and jelly before? And you're having to do that weird balancing act with the jelly when you're taking it out of the jar. You know what I'm talking about? Where like you're trying to scoop it out, it just doesn't want to stay on, and you end up scooping it like 3 more times. Does anybody like try to spread peanut butter or cream cheese and it feels like you spread 400 times, but it's still not spreading properly? Oh my God, it's terrible. And that's why I love the spatula spreader, because of how wide and how flexible it is. Like Nana, when you want the jelly, you just scoop in, you get a whole dollop, you're good to go, right? You want the cream cheese, you scoop in, 1 spread, you're good to go, right? You want the peanut butter, 1 spread, you scoop in, you're good to go. But it's also good for serving the casseroles, the lasagnas, the cakes, spreading the frosting, all of it, right? It's great for all of it. And you guys can see like, hey, that's why so many customers love it. College students, moms alike, they use it all the time. But again, you don't want to use it on meats or large vegetables. That's why you have your petite carver. So who did I have next here? Jordan, Nana, and then Sam. So Jordan, go ahead and read for me, please. The petite carver. There's actually 2 pieces in 1 video. So Jordan, whenever you're ready.
All right, with the petite carver, this large utility knife is your everyday meat knife for chicken and small. It's also for large summer fruits and tough vegetables. Watch how this glides through the pineapple. The turning fork has 3 sharp tines that make it easy to turn meats and veggies and getting things out of jars. None of these pieces so far are used for larger foods. That's why you have your butcher knife.
Perfect. All right. So a couple things on this. So one, this is one of the only videos that's a little bit longer. So you have 2 options. You can build more like rapport, build more conversation, talk more about the knife, or like ask the customer like what they think you'd use the knife for, or you can just pause and go to the next one, right? But really quick, so this one's great for, you guys noticed that was great for pineapple. Has anybody here cut a pineapple before? Anybody notice that's like way too difficult for no good reason, right? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't eat pineapple growing up. My grandma's allergic to pineapple, so we just never had it in the house. But as soon as I got this job, started cutting a lot of pineapple, right? All the time. And I genuinely didn't know that people struggle to cut pineapple, because I had always used Cutco to cut pineapple. And so let me show you guys. I'm not sure if you caught this at the beginning of the video, but check this out really quick. Look at it go through this pineapple. You guys ready? Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. All right. Now, has anybody had trouble cutting through the core of a pineapple before? Like you have to cut around it because it's super dense in the middle. You guys know what I'm talking about? Check this out. Look at that. Just goes right through it. Whoo! All right. So I love it, right? And you guys can see the importance of having a quality tool for the job, right? Very, very important. Now, the turning fork has 3 sharp tines. So everybody say the word tines for me out loud. Tines. Tines. I can tell if you're not saying it or not because you have to make a weird face to say it, right? So everybody say tines. Tines. All right. Thank you for those of you that participated. People are looking at you weird. That's fine. Blame it on me. So the 2 outer tines on our turning fork flare outwards to create more friction. The easiest way to relate this is like has anybody tried to like pick something up with a fork and it keeps sliding off the fork? So it's because the tines on the fork are perfectly straight. There's no friction there, right? So with ours, the 2 outer ones flare outwards into points. So that way, when you stab something, it sticks on the fork. And when you want to take it off, you just flip it to the flat side and like just lay it against the plate or whatever you're setting it, right? It can lift up to 25 pounds vertically. Like you could just stab a pineapple and lift it right up and just walk around the house with it if you wanted to, right? Like the thing is super, super strong. And guys, do you think when I was 17 years old, when I first started this job, do you think I used a turning fork very often? Heck no. All right. I lived in my dad's house. We did a lot of microwave burrito stuff like that. But as soon as I moved out and started cooking for myself, what do you think I use all the time? Turning fork every day, turning meats, veggies, getting things out of jars, all of it. It's a great tool. But again, you don't want to use none of the pieces so far are used for larger foods. That's why you have the butcher knife. All right. So Jordan, I believe you just read. So we'll go Nana and then Sam and then Enrique. So Nana, read for me, please, the butcher knife.
This heavy-duty knife disjoints large meats and is also great for melons and squash and separating frozen foods like hot dogs and hamburgers. It protects your It protects your other knives because it's the only piece in the basic set strong enough for these jobs. But it's not a chopping knife. That's why you have your petite chef knife.
Perfect. So the butcher knife, you guys notice it kind of looks like a machete, right? Like a mini sword, like it looks like something from Aladdin. The reason it looks that way is because it's a big, scary knife for the big, scary jobs, right? So anybody watch mom or dad or maybe themselves have struggled to cut through a watermelon before or cutting up the barbecue stuff, frozen meats? Great. So the butcher knife's designed for all that stuff to make it easy. It has a really wide belly, so it makes it really easy to just push forward, slice, and cut through. Now I'm going to play this video of it slicing up the watermelon more in depth, right? So this one might end a little bit early, but you definitely want to get to this part because this is what sells the butcher knife for me. Check that out. Oh my, this lights out. It's so nice. Now, has anybody here played Fruit Ninja? You guys know what I'm talking about? Like the game on little app on your phone you used to play growing up. Maybe your kids have played it. Has anybody wanted to do that in real life? Has anybody been like, that would be cool, but your knives just can't make the cut, right? No pun intended. Check this out. You ready, 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 ready? Hold on. I know the anticipation. Check it out, check it out, check it out. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have no idea why that's in there. like there's no like Sam, I can't honestly tell you to be like, hey, like that's the difference maker. I just think we literally have it in there because we're like, it's cool and our knives can do it. And I think that's pretty awesome, right? But yeah, so again, heavy duty knife for the heavy duty jobs. But again, it's not a chopping knife. That's why you have your petite chef. So Sam, believe you're next, and then we'll go Enrique and Jasmine. So Sam, go ahead and read for me, please, the petite chef.
The petite chef, the high knuckle clears makes it comfortable and safer for dicing, mincing, and chopping. This delicate chopper is great for the 6 S's: soup, salad, stir fry, stew, stuffing, and salad. Chef knives are for chopping, not slicing. That's why you have your
slicer. Perfect. Sam, that was great. All right. And again, like that you slowed down your pacing and change it up when you're talking about the successes and everything. That was awesome. Right. Who here has ever chopped anything before? Been on like carrot duty, stuff like that? Has anybody had to like put extra effort when you're cutting a carrot because it's not going through the core? Like, it's just a little bit difficult. Who here's been chopping celery before and it doesn't go all the way through the celery? Like, there's a couple strands that cause it to like flip up. You know what I'm talking about? Would anybody just rather have a sharp knife that kind of just cuts when you need it to cut? Would that be nice? Heck yeah, right? And so that's why I love the Cutco Petite Chef. That's what it's designed for, right? It's designed to be a high quality knife, high quality tool that just gets the job done. Check this out. Play this in full screen. Look at that. Carrots, no problem. Cucumber, easy. Onions, woo! Don't even get me started. And the celery, look at it. Oh my gosh, isn't that nice? And again, it's important to have a quality tool for the job, right? Now let's talk about the slicer. So Enrique, if you could please read for me the slicer.
It's the best bread knife in the world, and the long DD edge makes it great for cutting cakes, shredding lettuce for salads and tacos, shredding cabbage for coleslaw, and slicing boneless meats like ham. If you've ever used a serrated edge slicer, you've noticed how you have to squish the bread down and then saw with the knife, leaving you with flat bread and crumbs everywhere. The double D edge allows you to preserve your fluffy bread and leave virtually no crumbs on the cutting board.
Perfect. All right. Who here has ever had the scenario where the bread gets smashed when somebody's slicing it up? There's crumbs everywhere. You know, the whole, like, it looks like a battlefield. All right. So I love it. This is the knife that sold me on Cutco, right? As I mentioned, I'm Italian and Hispanic, like Spain Spanish. So all we eat with every meal is bread all the time. And so when I saw this, like, let me tell you, I was like, lights out. This is the best product I've ever seen in my life. Check this out. You ready? I turn on the sound so you can listen. Check it out. Oh my gosh, it's like an ASMR video, right? It's just beautiful. Oh, that's so nice. I love the slicer. But not only is it good for the breads, it's also, as you saw, good for shredding the lettuce, the cabbage, and the cold, like all that stuff. And I wanted to bring that up because I think it's important to understand that quality tools save money over time, right? And an unintended aspect of this would be like, well, who here is like my family, where it felt like you had salad every single day? Anybody kind of like that, where it's like you had greens with every single meal almost? Okay, great. Some of you are like, Tommy, that's insane. That's a lot of salad, right? So I totally get that. But can we all agree most people have salad at least once a week? Can we all agree that most people have salad at least once a week? If you're not raising your hand, by the way, you need more greens in your life. All right, get some salad right now. All right. No, so who here's family buys the bag of lettuce at the grocery store, like the pre-cut stuff? You kind of just serve it. Who here's family buys the head of lettuce and slices it up themselves? Right. Now there's a difference in pricing there, right? A bag of lettuce is what? Like $3 or $4, right? Maybe more with the current economy. Head of lettuce is what? Like $1, maybe $2, right? If it's expensive stuff. But which one do you get more lettuce out of, the bag or the head? The head, right? Which one's fresher, the bag or the head? Head, right? And which one's cheaper, the bag or the head? The head, right? But most people don't get it because they have to cut it up themselves, right? And they don't have the right tool for the job. Now, if you were to use the Cutco slicer for it, because of the length and how sharp it is, you just cut off the butt, right? One quick swoop. You put it on that side. You cut it 4 ways sideways and 4 ways this way. Takes 17 seconds and your salad is done for the whole family. But again, most people don't do it because they don't have the right tool for the right job. And I want to tune you into the aspect of that where it's about how much money it saves over time, right? Because on that grocery bill at the end of the week, it doesn't seem like a lot because you save what? About $2 on that grocery bill. And that doesn't seem like a lot. But if you have salad every single week, again, just for the people that do it once a week, that's $104 saved over the entirety of the year. The average customer, average person, cooks between the ages of 25 to 65. So that's 40 years of cooking. So if you multiply $104 per year over the 40 years that they're going to be cooking, not accounting for inflation, that customer is going to save $4,000 on their grocery bill on just lettuce. Like that one knife, just the slicer, pays for the set. And by the way, I'm not saying like, hey, like you buying bag of lettuce versus head of lettuce is the reason you're broke, right? But what I am saying is that good quality tools don't cost more money over time. They save more money over time. You guys get where I'm coming from? Has anybody bought something really high quality they use every day and they love it, and every time you look at it, use it, you appreciate it? Has anybody bought something super cheap and it breaks like a week later, 2 weeks later, right? Which one would you rather have, right? Rather have the quality tool. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. And let's talk about the last one here. Jasmine, I have you read the master carving set, please. When you're ready, unmute.
It's like your spare tire. You won't use it every day, but you'll be glad you have it. Do you ever barbecue or host family dinners?
Oh, all
You'll
the
need
time.
it for You'll need it for barbecue, big roasts, and family occasions. Having both forks in the set is important. The turning fork picks food up while the carving fork holds meat down and is wide enough to go around the bones. Can you see how over a lifetime you're going to use every tool in your basic set?
Perfect. And this question is important so they can see the value of getting the whole set, right? Because Sam, what do they say every time? Heck yeah, I can see how I'd use every single tool. For whatever reason they say no to that, make sure you call a manager after that appointment so we can break it down and see what happened and how we can improve for the next one. Now, we call the master carving set the spare tire. How many wheels are on a car? Show me with your fingers. How many wheels on a car? 4, 4, 4, 4. I can't believe all of you are wrong. 5, spare tire. Do you think about it every single day? No. But when you need it, how do you feel about it? Whoo! Glad that's back there. All right. Same thing with this Cutco carving set, right? Do you think Mrs. Jones is going to use that every single day? Do you think she's going to use it every single week? Maybe not even every month, right? She might just use it for the big barbecues over the summer and for the big stuff at the end of the year, right? Let's say we take out the summer. Let's say she just uses it the holidays, what, 3, 4 times a year? But having it for the next 10, 20, 30, 50 plus years. Do you guys see the value of having the carving set in the set? That's why 24,000 people bought homemaker sets from us last year. Because they saw the same value, right? So let's move on to the next piece, which are the table knives. So these are the table knives I'd mentioned earlier. So to complete your set, you have your table knives. These are used for every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The wide blade and rounded tip makes it safer and great for spreading, but with the double D edge, it cuts like a steak knife. Now, really quick, where it says double D edge, anytime it says DD, you can just say double D, right? That's the name of the edge. We recommend 2 table knives per family member so you don't have to wash them after every meal. So the Homemaker Plus 8 comes with 8 table knives. If we recommend 2 table knives per family member, it means it's good for a family of how many? 4, right? For those of you that didn't catch the math, right? It's good for a family of 4. If they have a larger family, can they get a larger set or more table knives? Answer is heck yes, absolutely, right? It's the most popular thing for customers to do is if they have a larger family, they upgrade to a larger set or they add more table knives, right? Let's see how our table knives work on some tough leather. Now, where it says explain the table knife video, basically all you want to do is like now you want to proctor the video. And this just means explain what's happening. So I'm going to full screen this really quick. What are we doing over here, buddy? There we go. All right, I'm going to full screen. All right, so this first is not Cutco. It's just a generic steak knife from one of our competitor brands. Check it out. You guys hear that? Has anybody had that happen to them when they're cutting a steak before? Like you just keep sawing at it and just rips and tears. It's not a good time. All right. Would anybody just rather have it like cut through your steak when you wanted to cut through with minimal effort? Yeah, heck yeah. Check this out. Now, I'm not saying like the steaks you eat are as tough as this leather, but pretty good test medium. Look at that. It literally looks like a machine cut. Look how clean that is. Oh God, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Again, a competitor, a lot of ripping, a lot of tearing. Then the Cutco one. Woo! Lights out. I love our table knife. Can you guys like, once I started using my table knife, like I use that for my steaks and stuff at home, I always make fun of knives anytime I go out to dinner, right? Like, yeah, it's like butter. I'm spoiled by Cutco. Anytime I go out to eat, I'm always comparing their stuff to Cutco. Now, next slide talks about our steak knives. So our table knives are excellent and have been around for over 70 years, but a lot of our customers asked us to come out with a larger knife you'd get at a nice steakhouse. Our 2 larger sets, the family sets and the complete set, both come with the option for steak knives instead of table knives. Our steak knives are so popular that we sold out during the pandemic, and now that they're back, they're one of our most popular products. The whole point behind this, again, something else if you want to take notes on, just like basic marketing stuff, this is something called social proofing, all right? Easiest way to relate this is, has anybody heard something called first adopters? Has anybody heard that? It's a marketing term. All right, I'll paint a picture in your head that'll make it make sense. Has anybody seen people standing in line for a product release, whether it be new shoes, new phone, new video game, new movie, whatever it is? Has anybody thought those people were crazy? Of course, right? But what happens is those people get the product first, and what do? They use it and they leave reviews. Has anybody bought something solely because it has good reviews? Do that all the time, right? So that being said, those people are very important. First adopters make up a very small amount of the marketplace, but most people would rather have somebody else use the product first and then buy it based off of their consumer experience rather than just get it for themselves at the first point without checking any reviews. So the reason we bring this up with the steak knives that other people, like we sold out and now that they're back, they're really, really popular, is because in the customer's head, what are they thinking? They're like, well, if they're so popular and they sold out and everybody likes them, who else would like them? I'd probably like them too, right? So it makes them more open to checking out our larger sets, which have the steak knife options, or just adding on a set of steak knives. It creates larger sales. So the family set comes with 10 table knives or 10 steak knives, and the complete set comes with 12. So these sets are perfect for the holidays or when you have company over at the house, or if you just don't want to run the dishwasher constantly, you'll have some extra table knives or steak knives. All right, now Uncle Sam, it'd be dangerous to have really sharp knives floating in a drawer. So our sets come with a solid oak wood block, which looks great on the counter. We also have safe storage trays for the drawer or on a wall. Our sets come with a free cutting board. It's important to use a soft plastic cutting board because glass, granite, and marble cutting boards are too hard and will dull your knives. Does anybody have glass, granite, and marble cutting boards at home currently? Those are the absolute worst possible things you could use on your knives. They literally dull it every single time it grinds against the edge, throw them out, right? Or just leave them for charcuterie boards. They're terrible. So to complement your homemaker set, we also have incredible kitchen tools and gadgets. The 5-piece kitchen tool set matches the rest of your set and comes in a wood block for easy storage. This is designed to replace that drawer full of old kitchen tools that everybody has. You know, the one I'm talking about has like 1,400 spatulas in it, a couple different spoons and stuff. And like, yeah, it's designed to replace that. Now our 4-piece entertainer pack has comfort grip handles and is of course forever guaranteed. And then we play the videos for the gadgets. So it comes with our 4 most popular gadgets all in one pack. I'm going to play these short videos one at a time, starting with the peeler. It peels in both directions. Who here has been on peeler duty before? Like Thanksgiving holidays, you're peeling the carrots, the potatoes, all that stuff. You guys are going to be mad jealous when I show you this video. You're going to be like, Tommy, I wish I'd have known about this Cutco thing way sooner. Check it out.
This is a Cutco peeler. It has a double blade and it goes back.
This is literally just making it rain.
No. This is like the coolest thing. Look, it goes back and forth. How cool is that? Within seconds.
That's awesome.
Now I'm very excited.
Oh, I love it. All right. Let me know if the video's coming through choppy at all, by the way.
This is a Cutco peeler. It has a double
What are
blade
you
and it goes
doing?
back and forth.
Thank you.
Coolest thing. Look, it goes back and forth.
All right. Now the ice cream scoop goes right through rock hard ice cream and is also great for getting the seeds out of melons. Now the ice cream scoop that we make is made from a stainless steel coated zinc aluminum alloy. Does anybody know what that means? Nope, your customers don't either, right? Most people don't. Again, I just said that to illustrate like, hey, most people don't care about the science behind it or how it works. They just care what it does. So what our ice cream scoop does is, who here has ever done the trick of like holding the ice cream scoop under hot water before you start scooping? Who here's left the ice cream out to melt before you start scooping? Who's done that? Who here, be honest, is a safe place, okay? Who here has done the microwave trick? Where you put the ice cream in the microwave for a little bit? Oh, you're terrible! You're awful! I'm sorry, I said the safe space. It's okay, right? No, it's just you don't have the right tool for the right job, right? So what's cool about the Cutco ice cream scoop is if, for example, if you were to put a piece of ice in the scoop, it'll churn into water in seconds because of the materials that we use. There's no chemical reaction or anything. It's literally just the steel. So that means what? Like when you want your ice cream, Nana, you just start scooping. You get her done. Check this out. You ready? Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's awesome. I love Cutco. All right. The pizza cutter. So next up we have our pizza cutter. It's not sharp, it's angled, so slight pressure is enough to cut right through your pizzas and quesadillas. This makes it kid friendly so they can safely use it and feel like adults. The blade also comes out for easy cleaning, so you won't have tomato sauce or cheese getting stuck on the blade. This way you'll never end up with yesterday's cheese on today's pizza. Who here has ever been cleaning the pizza cutter before and there's cheese stuck in the axle from like a week ago, it feels like, because you just can't get it out. So we have a patented design. That's actually why you're not able to see it fully on this screen here, but check this out. First of all, no sharp edge. It goes right through the crust. No problem, right? Quality tool for the job. It's important. And check it out, check it out. Boom. Throw it right in the dishwasher. Easy to go. All right, and then the cheese knife. And speaking of cheese, this is the world's best cheese knife. The knife has holes so that foods don't stick to it. It's designed for anything soft, sticky, or starchy. So it's also great for potatoes, apples, limes, and pepperoni. This thing is awesome. By the way, remind me to say some really bad dad jokes about this knife on Friday. Okay, if you guys, does anybody here like really cheesy, really corny jokes? Okay, great. So remind me on Friday. I'm gonna tell those. All right. But the holes in it, what it does is, who here has ever cut a potato before and noticed that the knife kind of gets stuck to the potato? There's some friction there. The reason that happens is because potatoes are starchy, wet, so it sticks to the surface area of the blade. Now, the cheese knife has 3 giant holes in the middle of it. So is there anything for the food to stick to? No, so it just goes right through it. It's like a hot knife through butter, and it's the #1 selling knife we've made over the past 30 years. #1 all time, again, is the trimmer, because we've been making the trimmer since the 40s. Past 30 years, cheese knife has been destroying it, right? Because Cutco owners and non-Cutco owners alike love it. And not only is it good for the potatoes, but everything: cheese, limes, lemons, apples, cucumbers, zucchinis. Check it out. Easy. What is that? Mozzarella? Easy. What else we got? Was that sweet potato? Easy. Super large tomato? Easy. Hard cheese? Yeah, I said tomato on purpose now. Just to make sure you're paying attention. Hard cheese, pepperoni, lights out. It's awesome. And then our shear, and then the last one, the last videos are shears or scissors. So this is a longer video. I will say the audio on this is very loud. So make sure that you mute it on your end for this video in particular, okay? I purposely turn off the sound, and you can also turn off the sound here, right? So that way it's not playing. So our shears or scissors are a customer favorite. Strong and versatile, they can be used in the kitchen, garden, and beyond. You can cut everything from delicate herbs to paper to tough packaging. The heavy-duty blades come apart for easy cleaning, and these will work whether you are right-handed or left-handed. Is anybody left-handed? And they're like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, ambidextrous, right? And this is a longer video, so you can pause this one a little bit early, right? So that being said, that's like 50% of the demo or so. After this, we go over a summary. We talk about why a lot of people buy Cutco. Like basically, we just highlight some key points, and then we talk about our competitors, and then we show the price of Cutco. They say, yeah, of the homemaker set. They say, yes, great. We're going to offer to show them the 2 larger sets too, in case they do a lot of cooking or they entertain a lot, right? If they say no, we'll drop down to our smaller starter sets or to our individual piece specials. We also have gifts, accessories, cookware, flatware. We sell garden tools, a lot of other gadgets for the kitchen. We sell outdoor knives. Has anybody heard of K-Bar before? So if those of you don't know, K-Bar is a standard issue tactical knife used by the military. Marines have been using K-Bar since World War II. Cutco owns K-Bar. We've owned them since the 90s. Everything that the military uses is made in our factory up in New York. So I figure if they could trust it on the front lines, I could probably trust it in my kitchen, right? But join me in the chat box. What is your favorite piece of Cutco so far? What's the one that stands out to you the most, where you're like, if I could have this one piece for free, whoo, lights out, be done, good to go. Nana says the ice cream scoop. Of course, ice cream scoop. Like she was typing before I even finished talking. She's like, ice cream scoop, 100%. Abby, the cheese knife, love that. Jordan with the butcher knife. Jordan, I'm not gonna lie, you scare me a little bit. You scare me, but that's okay. that's all right. Damien, the ice cream scoop. Jelena, the pizza cutter. Jasmine said the trimmer. Love that. Now, while the last couple of you are typing your favorite piece, and I'm not confirming or denying anything, Sam, Fast Spread is great, right? I'm not confirming or denying anything. But wouldn't it be cool if there was a certain contest going on within your first 10 days where you could potentially, maybe, possibly win that favorite piece of Cutco for the price of free? Like, would that be a pretty sick contest that you guys might be excited about? Heck yeah, right? Just for doing your job, you get free Cutco. That'd be sexy, right? Now, I'm not saying that we do, but I'm saying it would be cool, wouldn't it? All right. So that being said, I'm going to pass it to Christina to quickly review the pay program. We'll wrap up with a brainstorming exercise. Okay.
There we go. Okay, sorry, I couldn't unmute. It was weird. So let's do a quick pay review. As I said, this should be exactly what you've seen from your interview if you did it with me. So let's get into it. Same thing, if you want to take screenshots, highly recommend, please take screenshots. So, once again, our base pay, $25 per appointment. This isn't based off of sales or results. This is just completing the appointment. Appointments typically take about 45 minutes to an hour. That means the minimum you can make is the base pay. So if someone were to do 5 appointments, 125, 10 appointments, 250, 20 appointments, 500. In order to receive base pay, you do have to do an appointment with someone who is qualified. Hey, you do have to do an appointment with somebody that's qualified. I'm sorry, Damien. I can't pay you $25 for showing your 9-year-old cousin. I know, I wish, but I can't. So there does have to be some kind of cap, some kind of level there. So over the age of 30 and working, that's who you have to show for base pay. We also do one-on-one appointments. We don't do group appointments. The reason we don't do group appointments is because people succumb to what is called group think. And usually the loudest voice wins, and it's not always in your favor. It also makes way more sense for you to do a personalized one-on-one demo, so I can make it make sense for Sam. But if I did a demo with Abby, that's probably going to be a different demonstration than the one I did with Sam, because I'm making it make sense for her. Where when you do a group demo, now you just have to generalize it and hope somebody's interested. So don't do group demos. They don't really work. Now you get whichever is higher of the two, not both, either the base pay or the incentive. So what we do is at the end of the week, we look at how much you sold versus how many appointments you did. Whichever is higher, that's what you get. How our pay periods work is they go from Tuesday to Monday. So that means our pay period starts on Tuesday, ends Monday midnight. And then we'd be paid the following Friday for that. Okay, so this week is going to be a short week for you guys because you don't start until Friday. And then the week ends Monday. So everything you do from Friday to Monday will be your first paycheck, but then Tuesday will be your first full week. Does that make sense? One last time on the incentive. So we all start at 10%. So as soon as you guys leave training, fill out paper on the third day, you will all be at 10%. Once you sell over $1,000, you're now at 15%. Once you sell over $3,000, you're at 20%. Over $6,000, you're at 25%. And over $10,000, you're at 30%. Reminder, this never resets or restarts. So once you hit a certain level, you can only go up. Another big thing to know is that once you hit the promotion, these happen immediately. Okay, so let's say, Enrique, you sell $1,010. Okay, the first 1,000 is going to be on 10%, but that $10 is going to be on 15%. Okay, so it does happen immediately. You don't have to wait till the next week or anything like that. As soon as you hit it, you hit it. All right. Oh, last thing. I told you guys that you can make base pay only if they're qualified over the age of 30 and working, but you can sell to anyone. So let's say, Nana, you have somebody like a friend that wants to buy a pocket knife from you, like for their dad's birthday or something like that. Okay, you'd get commissions from that sale. Is that an appointment? No. Okay, are they qualified? No, but you'd still get commissions from selling the pocket knife. Okay, so you can get commissions from anyone. So if Damien did want to sell to his 9-year-old cousin, I don't know, they just scrounged up some change to buy a pocket knife, he could sell to his 9-year-old cousin. Okay, the last thing, this is your full promotion scale. This includes bonuses, which I will not go over in depth, but I just want you guys to be able to see it. Once you sell $10,000, 30% now becomes your base. That's the bare minimum that you can make is 30%, because like I said, never restarts. Once you're at $20,000 in sales, now you're eligible for bonuses, a monthly bonus. This can either be 5, 10, 15, or 20%. Obviously, depending on where you're at in career sales. Okay, 5, 10, 15, or 20%, depending on where you're at in career sales. This is a monthly bonus based off of how much you sell for the month. That's all it is. Once you get to 20K, we'll explain more in depth what this would look like. Cool? Alrighty. Questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks, emotional outbursts on pay? All good? Makes sense? Like I said, it's more just a review. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Tommy so he can wrap up with the brainstorming exercise.
All right. So everybody take out a fresh page of notes. Those of you that worked on this brainstorming of people that you could show the product to at home, take that out. You're going to need it. Those of you that didn't, that's okay. That's the whole point of now. But those of you that did are going to thank yourself because you gave yourself a bit of a head start. All right. So right now we're going to work on a list of anyone and everyone that you could possibly show the product to. All right. Because I know some of you are thinking about like, oh, what married couples can I show the product to? Or who do I know that cooks a lot? Who do I know that has a lot of money? I want to get you out of that mindset because that's limited thinking. I want you to think, open up your mindset. The only way your brain works is if it's open. It's like a parachute, right? I want you to think of anyone and everyone that you could possibly do an appointment with. This means I want you to think of anyone that's just over the age of 30 that works full time that you have a connection with. An example would be, who here remembers your first grade teacher, whether it be their face, their name, whatever it is. Does anybody remember first grade? Let me say it this way. Who went to first grade? All of you did. Okay. You have a first grade teacher, right? Is that first grade teacher most likely over the age of 30? Yeah. Is that first grade teacher most likely working or retired? Yeah. So is that someone that you could show the product to? 110% absolutely. So is that somebody that goes on your brainstorming list? The answer is yes. Not like, Damien, is that going to be your first appointment at a training? Probably not, right? Unless you maintain a great relationship with that teacher. But the point is it gives you an option for the future. It's somebody that you could find on Facebook or another social media or email to book that appointment. Is this making sense so far? Now, another example of this that I know all of you will cringe at is, who here has an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend or ex-spouse? Probably all of you, right? Now, looking around this room, some of you could show them Cutco, but probably not because they don't meet the target range. So who could you show? Their parents. Now, are their parents over the age of 30? Yeah. Are they most likely working? Yeah. So is that somebody that you could do an appointment with? 110% absolutely. So is that somebody that goes on your brainstorming list? The answer is heck yes. Now, is that somebody you're going to do maybe your first appointment at a training? Probably not. Some of you are like, Tommy, I am never doing an appointment with my ex's parents. And that's okay, right? But again, it gives you the option. Would you guys rather have 30 people on your list that you for sure know you could show all of them Cutco? Or would you have 130 on your list and some of the people you might not call right away? Probably the 130, right? So that's my whole point here, is I want to help you guys expand your mindset and think of anyone and everyone you could show the product to. But also, do you guys think that after doing your first few appointments, you'll have more confidence? Heck yeah. So do you think you might end up calling those people later anyway? Heck yeah, right? I had a girl on my team named Kylie Peterson. She wrote down her ex-boyfriend's parents and she was like, Tommy, there's absolutely no way I'm ever going to call these people. And I was like, it's totally fine. Write them down anyways, just like I'm telling you guys. Now, she went out her first weekend and sold $2,300 her first 3 days doing this part-time around another job. So do you think she was pretty confident in herself after that? Heck yeah. She's like, Tommy, I can do whatever I set my mind to, right? So come that first team meeting on Wednesday, she came up to me. She's like, Tommy, I'm going to do it. And Abby, I looked at her, I was like, what are you going to do? She's like, I'm going to call my ex's parents. And I was like, what? Okay. And so it was funny because this is back when we did some in-person stuff. So we're at the office, I'm walking around while everybody's making calls, and she's literally staring at her phone for 5 minutes. And I go up to her, I'm like, what's going on? She's like, Tommy, I can't do it. I'm too scared. I was like, can I help you? Do you mind if I help you? She was like, yes, please. So I'm like, can I have your phone? She's like, yeah, for sure. So she hands me her phone and the contact is pulled up. So what do you think I did, Sam? I just clicked dial and I handed it back to her. And she was like, ah, she's freaking out, right? I'm like, no, you can't hang up. You got to answer the call. And guess what happened? Nothing. They didn't answer the phone. And then she was just on to the next phone call. So like, what's the worst case scenario when you call these people? They don't answer, or they say what? No, I'm okay. That's fine, right? Because then you're just on to the what? On to the next call, right? Some people will say, no, that's okay. Not a lot of people, but some people will, and that's fine. But what's the best case scenario? They say, hell yeah, I love Cutco. I've always wanted Cutco. Also, you were way too good for my kid anyways. I wish you were my kid because they're a spoiled little brat. You go over, do the appointment. They buy a Homemaker Plus 8. They give you 50 introductions, and they're the reason you're the top rep in the entire region this year. So would you guys agree that the upside kind of outweighs the downside? So can I get a double thumbs up from everybody except for Jasmine because baby's hanging on, that we're going to write down anyone and everyone that you think of, whether you love or hate them? Can we all agree? Great. So let's get into it. So I'm going to talk about different sections of people in your life, and I want you to write down anyone and everyone that comes to mind, whether it be a nickname, family name, or let's say you don't remember their name, just write down, remember what you know them by, right? Like lady with the big hat at the last family reunion, write her down, right? So let's start. The first one we're going to talk about is family. So I want you to write down anyone and everyone you can think of related to family, right? By the way, if you think of somebody else outside of that, like let's say like you have an Uncle Jackie, but you also have a best friend named Jackie, you're like, I could do an appointment with their parents, right? Write it down, right? This is meant to be a free-flowing exercise. But when it comes to your family, write everyone down. Mom and dad should probably be the first ones on there, right? If they live in the same house, by the way, just put them on the same line. Grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles. Think about great aunts, great uncles. Anybody have step family? Step aunts, step uncles, step grandma, step grandpa. Think about siblings or cousins. If they're over the age of 30 and working, those are great people to show Cutco to. My brother, over the age of 30, it was great showing him Cutco. By the way, do you think he made fun of me the whole time? Heck yeah, right? But he still ended up buying a galley set from me. I mean, his girl at the time. Does anybody have somebody that they call mom that actually isn't your mom? Write them down. Those are great people to show Cutco to. I called all my best friends' moms my mom. Think about family that not only lives in town, but whose family that lives out of town, out of state. Shoot, if you have family that lives out of country, write them down. I don't care. By the way, the family that lives out of country, you're not going to show them right away, right? It's difficult to sell them Cutco because we only ship to US territories. But we could find a way to ship it internationally. There is a way to ship it to them. It's just more complicated and they have to pay in full. So write them down. Like I wrote down my entire family in Spain. I still haven't shown them Cutco, but they're on my list. When I go and visit